Hey everyone, it's Robbie. I want to thank you for watching this video, which is a recording of a live stream I did. If you'd like to catch a stream live, check out the description box below for a link to my Twitch channel. There, you'll be able to find a schedule for what and when I stream. I have a pretty regular schedule, so if you can, stop by and say hi. Thanks again, and enjoy the video. Alrighty, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to the stream here. I hope your Tuesday is going pretty good. Mine's actually not going too bad so far. Just trying to get everything set up. You heard the Planet Coaster music is going in the background here. The park I've been building on, it's taken a little bit to load. I mean, any custom map like this will take some time, so we're running a little bit behind schedule, but we should be just fine. Kind of, this is something I've been kind of wanting to do for a little bit now. I know when we played not Planet Coaster, when we played Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, I did talk a little bit about what I used to do with Cedar Fair. I was a manager there for, I think, 4 years, and just kind of an associate for 3, so I worked there a total there for 7 years, about 6.5, 7 years, give or take. And there's quite a few stories I have, and a lot of it actually kind of shows in this park as well. Different experiences I've had, either on vacations or working for Cedar Fair, so once we get the game loaded up here, I'll kind of walk you through the park I've been building. I started this, I want to say January of 2019. I believe it's when I started playing this one. It was about the same time I had just gotten back from Universal Studios Orlando and a Walt Disney World vacation. So you'll see kind of elements of both in here. I've been to Disney World 23 times, I think it is. So it's something amusement parks I know very well. I mean, working at one for 7 years and going to different ones really does kind of affect, you kind of see some of the influences in the park here. So I've got the game loaded up finally. It took about 5-6 minutes for it to load up. So let me go ahead and pop over to that screen here. Hold on, F1. There we go. Alright, so here's actually kind of the overview of what I've done in the park, and it doesn't look like a lot, and to be honest with you, it's not. I play Planet Coaster very casually, I guess you could say. It's not that I don't like this game. I think I have just over about 320-ish hours into the game. And so I do spend quite a bit of time in it, but it's like I'll come in, I have an idea, I'll build that idea, then great. I don't know what to do from here, so I'll kind of fall off of it. But I kind of wanted to show you this park here, and this is kind of my idea of, just something I wanted to put together. And it's got a bit of a story to it and things like that. So we'll go through, we'll kind of act like we were driving up to the park and kind of give you an overview of what it is. So this is the original highway I had started with. I've kind of gone back and forth on the design. I'm still kind of looking at it. But this is actually, this is kind of how the highway will look. It will continue down this way and turn a right under the bridge, and we'll get to the bridge here momentarily. But you actually will exit off here into essentially a parking lot gate for the park here. And so this is kind of what it looks like. We do have a bus lane and deliveries on the right here, and most of this is actually for passenger cars. You can see most of the lanes are actually blocked off right now. This is, especially after the morning rush, they would do something like this to kind of help with capacity and get people to park elsewhere. And you can see some of them are falling over, which is rather common. So as we drive up here, we actually see the bus station on the right here. This would be kind of both for coach buses, so groups of people that would be dropped off. They'd be dropped off in this section here. And also, but for local city buses, they would be parked there as well. And if we keep on driving here, we can kind of see the name of the park. I've called it Thunder Lake. Now, Thunder Lake actually came from a model railroading idea I had. And it was a route on Train Simulator 2006. It was called Thunder Lake. And I loved the idea, and it's a really small city, almost. It was maybe 30 or 40,000 people. But it had this railroad connection to it, and I just absolutely love the idea. So I like the idea, so I called the amusement park Thunder Lake Amusement Park, and actually there's a lake here, so it kind of makes sense. You can see around here, got the police force out there just to kind of keep the peace. This is kind of the bus station. Now, a lot of this is Theme Maker's Toolkit, so they do have quite a few details in it that a normal Planet Coaster, idea would not have. And of course, this is actually the eventually will be the way down to deliveries and kind of the backstage area. Now, you'll notice a lot of this stuff is somewhat detailed, and there's other areas that are a little blank. My problem with stuff like this is that I get an idea and I'll work on it for 2 or 3 weeks, and it may not be 100% done, but I just kind of get burned out on it, so I'll move on to something else, and I'll come back to it later. And that's kind of how this parking was. You can see here our parking lot's massive. But I have these tunnels here, and it kind of seems odd that there's tunnels here, but this is actually where the highway would actually come through. And kind of had an idea for a scene here, didn't really materialize, but still working on that idea. But essentially, if you took the first tunnel, you would actually pop out on this side of the highway, pop out right here. And if you took the farther one, you would pop out down here. Actually, this is the tunnel here. This is just the main parking area for the park. Originally, I had the idea to put some parking garages over here, kind of like Universal Orlando. That's kind of where I got the original idea from. Let me actually set this in motion so you guys can see how the parking lot kind of works. But as I got to thinking about it, we had a lot of room here, and I did build one parking garage, and it just seemed out of place over here. And so I actually went back, tore that down, and built this parking lot. And I love this place. It's plain, it's boring, but it looks like something you would see in an amusement park. Just flat expanses and with a few trees to help block the wind. Now what I did is you see these shelters. There's one here, there's one over by the bus parking and semi-truck parking over here. There's one up here by the gate. This is actually our parking lot tram. Most big amusement parks have them. I actually use the what is it called? The Studios tour bus as a parking lot tram, and it actually works rather well. As you can see here, we've actually built it. Looks like they can just hop on and hop off. Really, this is just a non-functioning station, but there's ways you can make it look like just like a hop-on, hop-off tram. So yeah, this is just regular parking out here. We do have some bus parking and some buses out here, along with a few semis, because eventually, or inevitably, you would actually see stuff like this in amusement parks. You would see, semis usually loaded. Sometimes they're coming to the park. Sometimes they're waiting for their time to drop off their trailers and things like that. And so they'll park here. They'll maybe actually go into the amusement park for a day and then continue with their job. But as you continue down here, this is kind of your bus pickup as well. We also have one of the cleanup trucks. Not it's like a side-by-side, but I know at Kings Island, where I used to work, they used to use these to actually pick up trash in the parking lots. So that's kind of my homage to that. That's what I was thinking of when I was doing that. But if you were to walk, you actually can walk up through here. These nice bordered sidewalks. These took a little bit to figure out. Then we got handicap parking right up front here. Our main stop, and then we actually have the entrance to our park. Now, not all this is detailed. If you see here, the spawner for the park is actually right here. So it's not perfect by any means, but it's still rather nice. People are queuing up to actually technically go to their cars in the parking lot, even though they are done. Got some nice planters here. I really liked how stuff like this turned out. And then you can kind of come up here. It works a little bit better when it's zoomed in, so guests with and without bags. This is kind of a Disney thing where they would kind of split the guest up. If you have a bag, you go out to the outsides here. And if you didn't, you go straight through the middle here. And this is kind of our baggage check area. You see once again, we put the Thunder Lake logo there. And just kind of some basic tables. Nothing really crazy here. There is a couple of police cars here. Now, when I worked at Kings Island, we actually have our own police force there. None of them were, there actually was some off-duty police officers that volunteered to work there, which is kind of neat. You talk to them as well. But they also had their own security force, and I want to say they had about 10 or 12 vehicles they could drive around in. So, and all of them actually had the park logo on them, things like that. So yeah, so that's something that I guess some people miss out. You don't think about that in a smaller park, but like Walt Disney has their own police force. They also have their own fire and EMS, which I don't have here, but so we do have a little bit of security. And then we come to this bridge. Now, this bridge was inspired by the entrance to Universal Orlando. When I first went there, I was, just the entrance to it, I was kind of amazed how it works. So if you've ever been there, this is there's a bridge that kind of goes over the entrances to like the parking area and the bus stations, and this is actually the bridge over to what they call City Walk. And I was really amazed at how this entrance was. I don't know why. It's just something, I guess, out of the ordinary that I really didn't see in an amusement park. I mean, Kings Island, you go right from the parking lot to the main gate. Walt Disney World, their 4 parks are all completely different. The Magic Kingdom doesn't even have a parking lot in front of it. It's a lake almost. You exit the Magic Kingdom, you got about maybe 150, 200 foot, and you're in a lake. So it's all different on how they do it. And I really liked how they did this one, and I really wanted to incorporate that in this park. And so coming over the highway and the bus stations and the entrances, it made more sense to put a bridge here. So I like how the bridge turned out. The highway still needs to be done. There's a lot of detailing that probably needs to be up here. Some trees and some nature and things like that. But if you actually come along here, and I also I'm thinking about covering the bridge too. Not 100% sure yet. But you actually can come out through here. And you get some great views of the park itself right here. And I've thought about putting a photo spot here. Because you can actually see some of the bigger coasters and things like that. And stuff I really like to see. And then you actually come down here, and this is the main gate to the park. I realized yesterday they still haven't put a ticket booth in here, which is a little off, because if you can't buy tickets anywhere, the only place you can buy them is online. So yeah, still need to do that. This is also an employee entrance. This is one of them. If you were to park on this side of the park, this leads back into the admin area. I'll show that a little later off. But yeah, you actually enter the park here through the gate. The gate's not perfect. Still working. I like the idea of this, but I want to kind of clean it up just a little bit. Got some restrooms on this side and the entrance over here, and then you actually pass through here. Got a nice little fountain here that leads out here, and people always get stuck in this fountain for some reason. So I always have to pull them out and rescue them there. Then you also have the main kind of picture here of Thunder Lake. And we did put a photo person here. Kind of the cool part is people will walk up and they will stand right about in this area. Looks like they're queuing up to take their own photo, but they're actually looking at this. I think it's this. There's a landmark spot behind here that they actually come to look at. So this is also the Thunder Lake. This is actually the lake that they're talking about. So I think this is kind of neat. So we'll turn actually to the left here. And I'll kind of explain a little bit of a story behind it. So the idea I had for this park is, in like the early 1900s, this place would have been kind of like a boardwalk and a campground for people. So the boardwalk would have been like your general store and things like that. That you could have came like kind of like a pleasure pier or a boardwalk, things like that. So this is kind of what this left side is. You can see here that the game froze up just a little bit there. Still not perfect. It's a little laggy. Just the amount of parts and things like that in here. So it is getting a little choppy, but there we go. Add some lockers in here. Pretty simple, pretty basic. But as you can get here, or come down through here, this is kind of the original section of the park. And now all of it's not here, so some of it looks a little bit out of place, and there's a reason for that. And I'll kind of explain that here in a second. But here's the original picnic areas. You could have came and brought your own sack lunch, sat by the lake, ate your lunch, dinner, what have you. On this side here, we actually have our first ride, the Scrambler. The fences got a little messed up, and so while I'm going through the park here, I do kind of want to fix a few things. Hopefully, you guys don't mind here, but I just kind of want to show off what I do here. If I can select all this, I don't want that, and I don't want that. I think I'll hit the X button here and just slowly drop this back down to where it should be. This last one here maybe needs to be just readjusted back up to there. And it's not perfect. It maybe shows that it's a little bit older ride that maybe needs a little bit more repairs to it, things like that. One of my first Easter eggs that, for me personally, is in this park is actually coming up on here on the right here. And if any of you have been to Kings Island in the past couple of years, things like that, you'll know what this is. This is actually their original turkey cart. And the reason I put this here is that this was the first job I ever had. When I first worked for Cedar Fair, I worked in food service. My first day, they put me on this is what they call a cart. And so essentially, it's usually a single person operating a small booth, usually of food or some, concessions or something like that. And so this was my first job, and this is essentially how this cart was set up. There was a little register over here, and we had a grill, like an open grill here, that we'd throw our turkey legs on, and then we'd have some sort of bins back here to keep food warm, things like that, until we were ready to sell it. Later on, they did sell drinks here, so I did put a gulpy soda holder there, and some tread plates to kind of make sure you don't slip back here. This was my first job, and I remember my first day. This is one of the reasons I did want to do this episode, just to kind of stream, so I can kind of explain what I did at Cedar Fair and what some of my stories there. My first day at Kings Island, I thought it was a summer job. You know, I'm like, it's gonna be warm, it's gonna be hot. I figured I'd be okay without any overcoat or anything like that. So the uniform they gave us was a plaid button-up shirt, and then we had navy shorts, a navy apron, and a navy hat. And we had to bring our own slip-resistant shoes, and those were usually black. So summer wear, maybe not the flannel, but my first day, I was standing on this cart here, had turkey legs on the grill, things like that. If I'm not mistaken, it was 41 degrees, it was snowing, and people in the park were wearing their parkas. And I'm sitting out there in shorts, grilling turkey legs. I will never forget that day, because I remember, I don't know how many people came up to me that day and asked me if I was cold. And while I was a little bit cold, the grill was pretty hot. I mean, this whole part here, it's a little under-detailed. This is all metal, and so it radiated heat very well. And so if you stood anywhere in this little cart area, you were warm. So yeah, this was that's my first job. I remember that so vividly, and that's something I always told in trainings, because I actually used to do food service training as well. My third year I worked there, I actually was in the trainings themselves, and I teach cash handling procedures and things like that. But I also told stories like this to new associates to kind of give them an idea of what they're going to face out there. And that one I always get, like, you can probably never have more of a worst first day than I did, because I was just almost frozen by the time I was done. But yeah, so this is also the first blueprint I ever made in Planet Coaster, so it kind of holds a little bit more significance like that as well. We also have some nice condiments out here and a trash can, so people can eat their turkey legs, get some napkins, ketchup, what have you. Also have a little scene back here of some guy trying to mow, but his mower's not working, so that was kind of a fun one to do. So the first big ride we have in this park actually starts here. There's no sign for it yet. I gotta work on some signs. I'm not great with them. This is actually called, there's a big sign on the coaster, and see if I can see it. There we go. It's called the Splinter. This is the first big coaster, kind of in the story of Thunder Lake. This was their first big investment, and it's a huge wooden coaster. You can see here, kind of along here, this is part of the original boardwalk. Now, the reason there's only 3 buildings here is kind of the idea of the story is that this place was flooded at one point, and these are the only 3 buildings that remain, along with some of the rides, and including Splinter. But even Splinter was damaged in the flood that had to rebuild it. But I want to pause it just real quick here, because I want to show you something kind of interesting here. And I didn't plan this, but we'll kind of explain Splinter. It's just a real basic cattle pen style of queue line here. Goes underneath the station. You can actually see an employee entrance coming up this way. I do like how that looks. And into the station here. It's pretty basic. Looks like they are just about to unload a train. Comes out of here, and it kind of does this nice, gentle, sweeping loop. And you'll see a couple elements in this ride that are very similar to the Beast at Kings Island. I actually worked the merchandise stands quite a few times for that ride. I've rode it many times as a guest. So that ride's a very significant one to me. You actually have our maintenance track over here, which I think looks great. It does have some theme makers toolkits, control panels here just to help add to it. But what I really wanted to show you is actually over here. So this is the first hill that you come down, and you'll see here that there's actually supposed to be another coaster here. It's actually already gone down the hill, I believe. I could be wrong, but this coaster actually interacts with itself. And so if you don't know what coaster interaction is when a coaster comes close to a path or another ride, and riders on those rides can kind of see each other, and they'll, even if it's for a brief moment. I didn't plan this originally. I happened to actually look at it one time, and these coasters were actually interacting with each other. So you'll see here, these coasters pretty much pass each other at the exact same point. we'll kind of follow the coasters here as they're kind of racing over these two hills, which I think is great. It looks great. You know, if this was a real coaster, you know, people would, you know, see this rather well. And when they come down this hill here, their first hill, they come down through this double helix. At the end of the ride, there's actually a long sweeping corner. And I think they kind of look like they're racing each other, which I thought was kind of neat. It was something that I didn't plan on doing, but just so happened that it worked out that way. So after the helix, they actually go down the hill here into another tunnel. There's 2 tunnels on this ride, kind of apt to what the Beast does. And then it goes into a second hill, and we kind of see what's already happened on the second hill. Comes down through the second set of tunnels, kind of through some airtime hills, looping back around the big helix down through here, up and over 2 more humps, and then back into the station. So this was the original. This was kind of the original big coaster of the park, and I absolutely love how it looks. It works great, and it kind of sets a theme for the rest of the boardwalk, I think. Because you can see here, we do have some flying eagles on this side. These are just some basic rides, basic queue lines, nothing really fancy. But that's kind of how this boardwalk was. It wasn't fancy, but it was still a rather fun thing. You see here, the first store we have over here is the merchandise shop. Not perfect, but I actually, you know, do have some theme makers toolkits to make it look like this store is pretty full. Something neat I do want to show though. So these were actually part of the summer bro down. If you were ever on the Bro Nation Discord, they did a contest to do postcards from different parks, and I actually do have one here. I think this is on set number 1. Let me look here. Postcard Shop Rack Decoration 2. Actually, it's on number 2. I believe, yeah. If you look here, second one down is actually me. This is actually what I developed here. It was actually a couple of Jeeps off-roading near a camp. That was my entry to it. Unfortunately, I didn't get past the first round. But yeah, that was kind of my entrance to it. I love how this is included in Theme Maker's Toolkit. I don't remember who made these, though. But kudos to them. I really do appreciate those. I have used them a couple times in this park. But as you go down, next one, this is actually a breezeway. This is actually the exit to Splinter. And then you actually have stuff over here. This is a bakery. This is actually based on the bakery from the boardwalk. And the reason I got this idea for the boardwalk was, excuse me, nose bleeding. I thought it was nose bleeding for a second there. When I actually got back from my vacation, this is the first time I ever stayed at the boardwalk. So I had the idea to actually replicate some of the boardwalk in this park. And these were the 3 buildings I chose. And so this is actually based on the boardwalk, or the Disney World's boardwalk. This actually is the bakery in that shop, and I really liked how that looked. And this might actually be the first building I built in that set. So it is a functioning bakery, though. It's got a Le Vintage 27 Sept, which is a bakery in the game. So it does have a little bit of that, a little bit of park branding, I guess you could say. And then the one next door, it looks like a little harbor house, which actually is the bathrooms, and they do have some fountains back here as well. Get out of the Peeps way there. They have some bathrooms, some water fountains here. Nothing too crazy. And if you look on the other side here, we do have the old carousel here, which looks very nice, and a Zephyr type ride. Now the gondola would have been added later. I was actually playing around with the gondola when it first came out, so it does go to the other side of the lake. Still not 100% sure if I'm going to keep that or not. Let me actually get away from the coaster so you guys can hear me a little bit better. And so this was kind of the original park here. Now this was the Thunder Lake Boardwalk, essentially. And so what I'm about to show you is actually added on a little bit later, probably in the early 90s, I guess I would say. Because this would have been the employee entrance down here. So the employees would have walked out this way. And this was their original parking lot out here. So we did put a little cart out here. This is still based on what a Kings Island cart would be. It's a little bit different. They would have sold cotton candy, drinks, and stuff like that. They also would have sold Dippin' Dots. And I used to work these quite a bit as an associate, and I did work it a couple times as a manager. Wasn't a huge fan of them, but they were still fun. They're still enjoyable. You kind of got to be your own boss for quite a while, so it was still an interesting thought that way. So as you come down here, you can see this Eurofighter coaster here, and this Eurofighter was an idea I had that I was watching. I think it was No Name Landia when they were doing Rickety Cricket. I love that idea. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to build one myself. I'm going to build this Eurofighter, and just kind of make it look a little out of place. And that was kind of the idea. So essentially, in the story is that they were wanting to expand the park out this way, and I think there's going to be a couple more rides and shops and things like that out here. But this was kind of their idea. They were going to use the old employee parking lot, and they were going to place a coaster on it. And so you can kind of tell by the color theme or color in the scheme, and you kind of see the name on the cart there that this ride's called Stinger. And this is the reason I don't do custom signs very often, because this is like one of my first attempts at doing a really custom 3D sign, and it didn't turn out too well. You can tell what it is, but it's still okay. Now this is just a basic Eurofighter that I designed. Nothing too nothing too crazy. More than vertical drop here to a single loop into a like half corkscrew and then a half loop down, helix, a cutback, some airtime, and then a barrel roll. Roll short, I think it's like a 35-40 second ride, so nothing crazy. But it fit this area pretty well, and I thought this would kind of be a juxtaposition from the original boardwalk. If you continue out this way, the path actually ends there. But eventually, if you see here, that's the black line at the outside of the park, and it will kind of continue over to this little delta area for this river. But this will also be the essentially be the pulley parking lot area. You can see kind of an access road back here. This is actually going to be shops outside of the amusement park. And so this is actually a hotel I designed. I think it was for a user called Mass Bandit, part of the Bro Nation. He's one of the one of the few bros out there. And I built this kind of as a contest with him. Didn't get selected, but I thought it fit pretty well on this riverbank here. And I figured there would be a couple of hotels around here, especially with a big park around there. Panda Boy, hi there. How you doing? So yeah, this is kind of how this all works. So kind of the exit of the parking lot is kind of would filter down into this road here. And eventually this is going to be a road, like just a 4-lane road here. And so there will be a couple of parks here. While we're out here, though, I did want to put down a second business. So let me get the blueprints out here. So this is another one I had designed for that contest. So I designed 2. I knew if if it wasn't going to win, I still could have used them in this park here. So here was the other one I designed. Now this is based, I need to rotate it. So let me do that. Okay. So this is actually based on kind of Cincinnati. This is actually a building downtown that I was just going through Google Street View, and I found this building, really liked it, so I decided I was going to make a restaurant out of it. And it does pay homage to Cincinnati a little bit. Let me get this in place here. And so this is called the Flying Pig Barbecue. If you didn't know, Cincinnati was originally called Porkopolis, is one of its big nicknames, and it's because it had a lot of pig slaughter houses here. There's a couple of barbecue places as well, and so every year they have what they call the Flying Pig Marathon. They also have a lot of pig themed festivals, some to raise charity, some is just a food festival, things like that. So this is the Flying Pig Barbecue, and I think this was a great idea, kind of based on like a little bit more of a modern barbecue shop that would be down there. I think there actually is a restaurant in this building. I don't remember what the building is or where it's at in Cincinnati. I know it's in downtown somewhere, but I really liked how this turned out, and I think this worked really well where it's at, just kind of just outside the park here, next to hotels and kind of other businesses around here. So I'd like to do a whole street like this, and kind of build up the town a little bit, so it shows that there's other than just the park here, there's a little bit extra out here as well. So that was kind of the idea, and then this is kind of where it ends on this side here. As you can tell, most of this is underdeveloped. So either I kind of ran out of ideas or what have you. So in this part of the story, though, so this is where the original park would have ended. Continue on with the story. After the flooding, a lot of this was taken out. So there had been buildings here, which I did have a couple originally. There had been like games and things like that here, but I still want to incorporate, but I think we'll do a little bit more modern games here. And so when the flood came, most of this was underwater. Most of the buildings were wiped out. They could save these 3 and some of the rides, and that was about it. Well, the original owners didn't want to reopen it. They just didn't have the money, and they were wanting to get out of the business. So a couple of the local townspeople and things like that who had grown up with this wanted to buy it from them. So they had an investment. They bought the park. They rebuilt these rides, and they wanted to add something in, do an add-on to the park to make it more like a Disney or a Six Flags or something like that. And so what they did was they added this next section over here to actually kind of make it its first full park. So you can come down through here. So this is the fountain, the original Thunder Lake area. This actually is a photo booth. So if you take photos throughout the park, you come here at the end of the day to pick up your photos and things like that. And so the next thing is you're walking along here is this big, brick building. And this is the stroller, ECV, and wheelchair rental. And I wanted to put this in this park because it seems like this is kind of overlooked on how big these things are and how important these things are. After about I'm trying to think, about 4 years working at Cedar Fair, two as an associate and one as a manager. So my 4th year was coming up. I decided to actually switch over to merchandise, just to try to give it a shot. I was getting a little tired of food service, and the first shop I ever managed was there was 2 stores, and the third store was actually the ECV and stroller rental. And I'm like, you know what, it was fun. I actually did that for a year, really enjoyed it. So I thought I would put this in there. And I really didn't know how popular this thing was, because you think about it, it's not a ride. It doesn't really bring people in, but it's very essential to what the park actually does. How much money I ever made, I don't remember. But I do remember how busy we could get. We had 35 electric scooters that on a busy Saturday we would sell out of every time. And there'd be a wait list to try to get onto to actually rent a scooter. There was one in particular. We had completely run out of scooters. We had 2 wheelchairs left, and I think we had about 70 wheelchairs. To give you an idea, we were pretty full that day. And strollers, we were about half gone on. And at strollers, we probably had around 250, 300. So we were getting close to being, halfway out of those. Probably around 150, 200 of those sold. So that's an absolute bonkers idea. So I figured this would be a great place to put one. This is also the same time that the Ghostbusters DLC came out. So I decided to actually make this kind of look like, to use that stone and stuff like that to kind of help bolster that. And I like how it comes out. And these doors could be opened up so they can wheel more wheelchairs, ACVs, things like that out of there. But I left these open so that they kind of see there's actually like a path for the employees to get in and out of. So continue on. This is actually kind of really based on a couple different things at Kings Island. So this restaurant here is a pizza pen. This is also based on Rivertown Pizza in Kings Island. You kind of look here. The buildings are very similar to each other. They have this wraparound porch area that people can come sit. There's always trays on the table for some reason. That's just how Rivertown worked for some reason. And there was also a beer cart out front here, and this is actually a completely custom-built beer cart complete with a the beer pouring station and things like that. That was a relatively popular thing there. Got some condiment carts over here, some trash, things like that. I really like how this turned out. It looks like how I would think this place is. And I've worked there many times. I've passed by here many times. And it is a functioning shop too, so people can come in, they can get pizzas, they can get their drinks and things like that. So it's pretty neat. I like how it looks. And it fits. I think it fits this area pretty well. We needed a restaurant up here, and I think this kind of worked out pretty well. So in story though, this would have been their first big addition after the original family sold the park. And so if you come along here, I'll explain what this is here in a bit. I kind of want to explain what this is. So this is the first big coaster they would have invested in, probably in the late 70s, early 80s. And I've called this ride Shockwave, and you guys can tell this is an aero corkscrew coaster. This is actually based on one of my favorite aero coasters, and it was called Vortex. It was at Kings Island. Didn't work in the merchandise there. I don't think there was a merchandise shop for that one. But it was a record-breaking coaster. It was the tallest full-circuit looping coaster at the time, and it also was the first coaster to go upside down 6 times. And so the layout is almost identical to Vortex's. The only difference is the first hill here. So it goes up this hill here and down. On the Vortex, this would have come to the right first, and then, or to the left first, and then turned to the left, up and around this hill, and then this would have connected over to the loops here. That's really the only difference in this ride than the actual Vortex. It's got 2 loops in it. It does have 2 corkscrews, and it does have this We always call it the Iron Butterfly, but I've also heard it called a Batwing. There's a couple different versions of this. Essentially, it's a half loop, a half corkscrew, another half corkscrew, and then another half loop. Then it goes into a 360, and then back into the station here. This ride is one of my favorites, one of my first big coasters you rode. Kind of, you would grow up, you would have, all these kiddie rides you would go ride, there were some coasters there, but this was kind of the first big one, along with the Beast at Kings Island. So I really love this ride. I actually got this done. I had done the layout for it, loved how it looked, and so I decided I was going to do custom supporting. Don't know what that is. Custom supports are, if you see here, these are kind of the normal in-game supports. And I didn't do that for some of the ride, but I'm like, you know what, I'm going to, there's a couple things on the Theme Maker's Toolkit that actually had the Aerodynamics, which is the company who made the coaster. They actually had their supports out there. I'm like, you know what, I really want to use those for the ride. So I did a lot of this in their structure here, and I think it makes it look really nice. It's kind of a sad thing though, because I had just got this done. It just, I loved how it looked, loved the paint scheme and things like that. And about a week later, they announced they were actually going to close and tear down the Vortex. And it just sucked. I remember when they said that, it was like September, October. And I'm like, man, this really sucks. This was only happened last year. So, it really does, it was just like one of the things like, bam, we're just going to close it. Nothing really, nothing fancy about it. They were just going to tear it down. And it kind of, I had just got this thing done. So it was kind of sad because like I had just got this whole coaster done based on this one, and now it's going to be gone. And I think it's already gone already. I could be wrong. So what I did is if you can see here, let me zoom in just a little bit more. The coaster trains are actually painted like the Vortex, the purple and orange, which is great. I love the color scheme, how it looked, but I did the blue and orange for the Shockwave. So I think that's kind of my tribute to that ride. I kind of like how it looks. And I think a lot of this is based on it. The station's very similar. Where the pull-off tracks are very similar. They actually can store all three trains in the station here. So that looks really nice. So this is kind of the next area. This would have been like the 80s section. And I'm still working on this, and I have a couple ideas for it. So it's nothing really, too crazy here. Got some bumper cars. Got a discus ride, which I've been working on. This one's a little more built up. I had this idea to put this metal, like, roofing on it to kind of help protect people from the discus itself, just in case something broke or something left something in their pocket and it flew off. I had that idea, so this was a relatively fun, quick build that I did. And then you see here, there's some backstage area here. This would have been, a lot of maintenance trucks would be back here, a lot of forklifts, dumpsters. I don't know how many of these carts we would have lying around. I know when I worked in food service, we had, I think, 6 of these just sitting in our warehouse, just in case one broke, we could wheel another one out there. But I was kind of skirting around this bathroom here, and it's just a bathroom, but I absolutely love it, and it seems really odd. Why in the world would I love a bathroom? Well, I used to stare at this bathroom quite a bit, because this bathroom is actually based on the one right across the street from where I used to work. Right about here, maybe a little bit further, maybe right in here. This is actually where the original turkey cart for Kings Island was. And so this was the bathroom directly across the street. So when I was working turkey cart, this is one of the few places you actually could look. There was a sign to another part of the park there, and behind me was a restaurant. And so this is pretty much my view for 8 or 10 hours, was this restroom. And I love how it looks, and I don't know why. There actually is vending machines out there. There's drinking fountains out there. Everything is, almost perfect. It's plain, and it looks like what I was going for, and that's all I wanted it to be. And for some reason, every time I come over here, I love just looking at this bathroom, because it's funny, and it's boring, and it's great. And it is a functioning bathroom too. I love how, I got all this roof detail in here of the drinking fountains and how all this actually came together. Funny enough, I actually used to work behind this as well. If you actually look at this at Kings Island, to the left here is a store called, I think it's called Candy Confections. That was the second place I ever managed at Kings Island. There was a store here. Then it was Coney Potato Works, which is now called Coney Barbecue. If you're ever actually in the park now, I know it's closed, but hopefully they're reopening soon. Before Coney Barbecue, there was a place called Coney Potato Works. That was the first place I ever managed in food service. On the other side of that was a place called Attitudes, and those two stores were connected. So I used to be in the real back area like this quite a bit often. So yeah, this is kind of I've seen this bathroom from both sides. It's like, all right, cool. So it brings back a lot of memories, I guess you could say. But that's pretty much how the park is right now. This is about, what, a year and 4 months of work? It doesn't seem like a lot. But I did want to, I kind of skipped over this area for a reason. I kind of want to explain a little bit more about this. So Disney and other parks like this would sometimes put on like a nightly show. Things either like fireworks or like a laser light show, something to that degree. And something I've done rather often for some reason, and I enjoy them. That's probably why. Is that we go to special parties for games like this, or for shows like that. If you ever go to the Magic Kingdom, they have a dessert party over on the Tomorrowland Terrace. That's a really neat place to go if you ever go to a dessert party. Essentially, you get to sit there almost directly across the street from the castle and watch the fireworks from there. All you can eat desserts, drinks. There's some smaller hors d'oeuvres, so it's not all desserts, but it's a great night. You can sit right next to the waterway there. So I kind of wanted to recreate that in our park, and I was trying to think of how I could do that. And so this is kind of the idea I've been kind of tossing around a little bit. So this is kind of be VIP seating for the lake fireworks show. And eventually I do want to build some barges out here and actually have firework launchers in them and actually make a fireworks display. I've never done that before. I'm going to figure out how to and give it a try. But this is actually a neat, so this is kind of the seating for it. If you come down here, you actually can see it's actually roped off. So you need a special ticket in there, kind of like how the dessert party is. And you come in here, still working on some of this, what I would do back here. A little more decoration, I think so, but this eventually will be the handicap seating. I'll put a couple of just rows here and some wider access for wheelchairs and things like that. The railing I'm still kind of working on, still debating if I even want to keep it right now. But I am working on the souvenir stand down here. Well, souvenirs, it's a drink stand. So this is where you would come and get your drinks. Your popcorn, do have a popcorn machine. I believe this actually is from Pinewood Hills. If you ever watch that series, I'm pretty sure this is where this came from. It looks amazing. Just added a few popcorn boxes onto it. Thought it looked really nice. Do have a freezer back here, a sink, a nice prep table, which, you know, I could replace that one on the turkey cart that I did earlier, but I kind of like how this looks. So that's always kind of fun. It's got a register here just in case someone wants to purchase extra things. But you'll have a nice drink cart. Now, I do need to section all this off just so that people don't try to sneak in, even though I'm pretty sure people would try to. So this is where we come to the last building that I've been working on, and this is this kind of a shack. And it kind of looks kind of run down and things like that, and that was kind of the point. This is actually going to be like a seafood restaurant that I wanted here by the lakeside here. And originally before I started working, my first job technically, when I was working on the turkey cart, I was assigned to a place called Hank's Burrito Shack. And Hank's Burrito Shack is what it sounds like, supposed to be a shack that sold Mexican food. It was the first year that was ever open at the park, so I was kind of excited. I was going to be the first crew ever there. And I was, and I think I was the last person from the original crew to leave. Could be wrong about that, but I'm 95% sure. Anyways, before it was Hank's Burrito Shack, so the year before that, it was actually called Hank's Shrimp Shack. Kind of sounds familiar? It should. When Paramount owned Kings Island, it was actually called the Bubblegum Shrimp Company. And over the years, they still wanted to keep the idea of a shrimp shack there. So they called it Hank's Shrimp Shack, Hank's Seafood, things like that, kind of in reference of Tom Hanks, who played Forrest Gump in those movies. And eventually they decided to call it Hank's Burrito Shack, trying to something a little bit different, kind of get it on the idea of the Mexican food trends and things like that. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So, that was actually a fun place to work. I enjoyed it still. I'm still actually friends with some of the managers over there and things like that. They've actually changed the name of it once again. I think now it's called Hank's Mexican Grill. They actually redid a lot of that area. So if you ever go to Kings Island and you see Hank's Mexican Grill, and if you're standing out front on the patio, you're pretty much standing right across, and you're right across the street from the bathroom. You're pretty much where I was standing when I was working there. So, give you an idea, it's pretty neat. It's still there. The food's still pretty good. I haven't been, I haven't ate there in a while. Number one, I know the park's closed, but even before then, I actually still do have a pass there. I've really been wanting to go, and this is the reason. One of the reasons I wanted to do today is I wanted to go through a park because I haven't been in an amusement park in so long. It's been, let's see here. I went Kings Island. I went to Winterfest, so I'm trying to think. That would have been in probably early December is the last time I actually went. But a lot of the rides aren't open then. I think the last time I went to an amusement park where there was rides open probably was Kings Island, probably in August maybe. So it's been, 7 or 8 months since I've been to one. And that's really uncommon. Usually I go to at least Kings Island once a month, give or take. So yeah, so that is kind of the overview of Thunder Lake. I know that's what we were going to be titling this, and this is what was supposed to be taking an hour for. I was going to play some Prison Architect today, and I really just, from what's been going on, it's been kind of bugging me about thinking about that. So what I think I'm going to do, though, I don't think I'm going to switch over to Prison Architect today. Probably will pick that up again next week. But I did want to go through and kind of show you what I've been doing in Planet Coaster, kind of my thoughts and kind of some stories of Kings Island and things like that. But I actually want to go over and look at some of the campaigns for this game. I've never played them. Take that back. I've played them, but it's been maybe 3 years since I've actually touched them. So I'm going to save it here. I'll save the park. It might take it a second. So you can see I've got quite a few different parks here. You see there's a Disney-ish one I actually built. Started a Main Street for a Disney park. There's actually, this is the third or fourth park I've actually tried building. And the other ones I've gotten, maybe the entrance done or something like that. And just kind of fell off the project. I wasn't a big fan of it. So the first try was absolutely horrendous. I was really just kind of exploring how to be creative in Planet Coaster. The second one was not as bad. I actually got quite a bit further. It looked a little bit nicer. But I think the park was kind of out of scale. It just didn't look, there's parts that really didn't look right. So I said, what, I'll start a third one, and that was my third attempt. So that's kind of how it goes. So let's go over to the career mode. You can see here, I do have some of these done. Almost have all the pirate ones done. Or, I'm sorry, all the, I have the princess ones, the Princess Amelia's Fairy Tale. I have that one done. I almost have all of Captain Lockjaw's Buried Treasure, but I wanted to start with Chief Beef's Meaty Challenge. That's the first one I wanted to start with, because the first one is a racetrack. I think that's kind of a cool one. So we'll start a new one, and we'll just start loading it up here. You can see here that this will load up quite a bit faster than the parks do. It kind of drives me a little crazy, though, that a little bit, not a whole lot, that they put a lot into the management of this game. And if you watch any Planet Coasters out there, I hardly ever see anybody doing the campaigns. The campaigns are fun, even in Planet Zoo they were, but a lot of people use this more as a creative platform, creating stuff like exact replicas of Disney World or a ride, or they wanted to create their own parks. If you go look at Bro Coaster, they have a huge park called No Name Landia. It's just an amazing park, and it looks amazing. And the game itself, I don't think it really was built for that. Now, does it work like that? Of course it does. You can actually go in there and look at any park on there. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Pinewood Hills, Jubilee Gardens. Those are the ones I kind of watch the most to kind of get some inspiration. Pause this for 1 second here. So, was this game really built for that? For creativeness? Not really. But, at the same time, it works very well as it. But, loading times can be 5 or 6 minutes on some of those creative parks. And this one didn't take hardly any time at all, as just a quick explanation of how all this works. And I'm already in the game here. And I'm going to grab some tea real quick. My throat was getting a little dry. Alright, so this is Chief Beef's Railway, or raceway. Let's say railway. So you can see here we got a couple of objectives here. We have build a go-kart track with at least 900 meters of track. We got to build 2 rides with least of excitement of 3.0. Medium objectives, so the silver, is going to be a length of at least 500 meters. We have 2 tracks like that. We got to sustain a monthly profit from shops, facilities, and hotels of at least $2,500. Glad to see they actually added hotels into this one. That was actually part of an update that I don't think came out with the original game, but I kind of like seeing it here. So the hard achievement is we have to build a coaster with at least a rating of 7.0, a length of 750 meters, and at least an average speed of 25 miles per hour. Had a good park rating of at least 1,500, and build 3 rides with at least an excitement of 4.0. So we'll see how this goes. We're back in park management, but it's a little bit different, a little more modern. They actually have one go-kart track set up here. If you guys don't know what this is, I'm 95% sure. I'm not perfectly sure, but I'm, almost certain that this is actually based on Monaco. The Monaco Grand Prix. If you're a big Formula One person, if you look here, if you were to follow this track here, it goes to the right here. But if you turn left here, this is a very infamous corner here, and I don't remember what it's called. Into a long sweeping corner, and then a real tight one into a tunnel here. I mean, it even says St. Marco. This looks like a hotel here. But this is a very famous tunnel. If you ever watched Formula One, they come straight down through here into a chicane, a real quick chicane out by the water, up, and then there still looks like they're building it. But this would turn right here. You can kind of see the path. You turn right and then back left, and you actually can link it up to the original track. So I think that's what one of our track is going to be. But this is not quite got, we got to worry about money here and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and work on the rest of those two. Start work on the other 2 rides here. So we got to at least have an excitement rating of 3.0. So we're going to have rides here, see what we got unlocked. Let's see here. Let's go for thrill rides. I think thrill rides is really what's going to get us that boost of excitement. Thinking maybe test flight. Test flight not be bad. It's $1,700, so it's not too bad. Large. So let's look at something else real quick. Maybe Zorro or Zozo. I'm gonna call it Zorro. I think something right there. Kind of move this right there. Kind of keep it close to the path, so we can use this side as an entrance. Oh, this side as an entrance. Place an exit. Come on. Well, we can place it. Ooh, hold on. I think we're gonna. That's where I wanted. I wanted an attachment point out to this path here, and then we can just gotta connect the entrance to a path here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do this nice stone since the rest of this is very similar to that. I want to turn down the width as well. This is not going to let me connect the path like I want to, because it's not a queue path, that's why. Just thought about that while I was placing it down. Let's try this. There we go. And back around like this. I do want to do a couple loops, a couple switch or cattle pins, I guess you could call them. Just because I know like this ride's gonna be the only one, or technically the second one in the park. It's gonna be kind of busy. Something else, if you're ever playing Planet Coaster and you really want to get those square corners, what you gotta do is you go down here. You'll see this select grid option. You actually can select the grid path here. You just remove your 2 corners and then replace them on the grid, and they'll actually get you a nice square corner for you. There we go. I really like how those look, especially if you're doing a creative build. They give you a nice smooth, or a nice 90-degree edge instead of the curve. It makes it a lot easier to make queue paths. But this is ready to open, so we'll go ahead and open it up. We get a little confetti going here. Yay, boosh. Yeah, it's something kind of fun. Let's see here. Finances. We're going to charge $12 for this ride. I really don't know if the prices are really based on anything. To me, they are, like in Roller Coaster Tycoon, they're based on like the excitement rating, how old the ride is, things like that. There's a little bit different system in this game though, and I kind of like how it works. It doesn't look like it's open on this one, but there is a prestige limit to it. So the prestige, it kind of allows you to. Let's go blueprints to see if we can get something there. But the prestige thing is, if a ride's getting older, it loses a lot of its prestige, things like that. But eventually it gets to a point where the ride becomes like a classic ride, and it gets more prestige until it hits 5 stars again. And I think it's a neat little system. You know, just something a little bit different and out of the ordinary. So I'm looking here. Let's see here. I think I just kind of want this stuff. So if I can get our, yeah, I think that's what I want. So I just wanted to place down a stall here, maybe a restroom. Let's see what kind of restrooms we got here. The toilets, see what kind of, ooh, that's massive. Is there something a little bit smaller? I really don't want to place down this massive, or because if you look here, hold on. If I go to custom, just bathrooms, they're really just a square here. It looks kind of boring. Now, I can just place it down like that, no big deal. Also think I want to put a burrito bonanza down there. Oh, I cannot. Never mind. So let's put a restroom there. Make sure it's open. It is. Because it's usually something they can kind of complain about quite a bit. Then we might put a restaurant shop area, a restaurant and drink area over here, just to make sure that people are well fed, well hydrated. Very important in an amusement park. We'll do a soda shop here. And I might come back and actually build a little buildings around them later. But for right now, we're just trying to get our objectives done. And I think, how much money do we have? We have about 8,000. So if you never play Planet Coaster, down here in the bottom left-hand corner is where our money is. If you kind of look here, we got a park management screen, kind of the name of the park, money, ratings, the amount of guests in here. There actually is 3 different kinds of guests if you didn't know. There's adults, teens, and families. So that's the thing. Pretty neat. You got different buttons down here for different buildings, blueprints, toolkits. I don't know if they actually allow. Oh, they do allow toolkits in camp or into scenarios. So this is all like player-made 3D objects that you can put into your park. They don't really do much, but they add something to the park that's really nice. So you get track rides, coasters, different rides, shops, and scenery, things like that. You have an undo button, redo, camera effects. They actually have a lighting, so you actually set what time it is. Very nice. We have path and terrain down in this corner, and up speed simulation, and a pause here. So we have all that. Let's see. I do love this, how this looks here. I don't know what these names are. They're probably, they're probably something like, it looks like they're actually sponsors. It's funny. I like that. So yeah, there's a couple of things around here. It doesn't look like this place is very busy, though. I've noticed that. Let me look how, like, desolate this place is. By the way, what's the tire? Is it Dunlop? Dunlop tires? It's Heslop. It's pretty funny. There's actually a bridge over, but it looks like a lot of this place is just boring. There's nothing going on here. Let me see if that pizza place is open. It is open, so it looks like most of this place is actually open. But it isn't like there's a lot of people here, and that kind of is kind of a sad thing. So let's go ahead and let's try to get our first rating done. And the way we're going to have to do that is actually get rid of a lot of this rock here. So we will just cut all this out. The road's technically still going to be closed, but we're going to try to do. Actually, we might be able to do it this way. Let's get kind of all this rock in here and delete it. I don't know if we get any money back from that, though. We get a little bit back, so not too awful much, but still not too bad at all. I'll leave all this up because I kind of like how that looks. We'll leave some of these rocks around here to make it look like it's fallen over. I'll do something like that. And so essentially the idea is we're going to close this ride. We're going to make it turn left here and then go down through the Monaco circuit. I love how they have this. There's a hotel here. It's got a pool. Oh, look at that shot. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful sight there. And then what we'll do is we will connect it back up over here. Gonna get rid of this stuff. Looks like they were actually trying to clear the track just from different rock slides, things like that. I love how this is animated, but we're going to get rid of it. Just like that. Get rid of that as well. Get rid of all this. This will give us a little bit more money just to help out a little bit. But essentially you can kind of see how this track's going to go now. So we're going to turn right here, go up, and then make a left. That's going to be our whole circuit. But that should provide us with the... there's a shark in the water for some reason. That should provide us enough track to get at least our first goal done. But if you actually look out here, they actually have started another track out here for us. You can kind of see how the circuit goes. Come down here, make a left around the lighthouse. Then kind of S-curve along the lake here. Somehow you have to bring it back up here. Not sure how you would do that. But maybe something like a nice big spiral out here and then bring it in. Might be how we do it. But I think it's ready, or it's time for us to actually connect these carts up. We got about $8,200, so I think we're ready to do so. So let's go ahead and close this one. Close it. And let's go ahead and edit the ride. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right. Delete that section of track here. Now I want to bring it on this side. I'm going to turn it just a little bit. Now, how Planet Coaster does their ride building, I really like how they do it. It's not perfect. There's some quirks you gotta kind of learn how to use, but it does, I think, work pretty well. So that's how our track circuit's going to go on this side. Let me go ahead and smooth the terrain out here just a little bit so that it doesn't clip through. Scenery. Actually, I'm going to go over here to terrain first. And what we're going to do, we are just going to push very quick. One more. There we go. So there's that taken care of. So we got this side connected up. And we'll come down this way. And click on the ride here again. Edit the track. Add more track this way. We'll actually do a nice curve around this way here. And we'll have it continue going up because I think that's how we're going to have to do it. Keep it straight. And we'll level it out. We'll level it out. I don't want to shorten it any. As you can see here, though, it is almost wiped out our entire fun just to do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do that. Delete this turn here. And we're actually going to swing it this way. Ooh, that's not what I want to do. I want to do this. Curve it out just a little bit more, and like that. Alright, so that's how the track's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and just see here. And I'm going to... Oh, yes. Why is there no exit here? Why is this section deleted? Is another good question. Hold on. Edit track. I think I might have accidentally hit something when I was, let's see here. Entrance on the left, exit on the right. Well, come on. Now, is that connected now? Should be. Something like that, just to fix it. Yeah, look, okay, here we go. So we're good there. Now, so we got our go-karts back open now. We can reopen the simulator and let people get back on the ride here. You want to edit this barrier here, though. Since we really don't need all this anymore, can we actually do something a little bit different? Can we actually move them? And let's Z rotate it. It doesn't quite fit the same curve, but just trying to reuse them, make it a little bit nicer. This actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, they do have like scenery ratings for rides. So the higher the rating, the higher or the more likely people will pay for it. So I'd like to keep a few of these barriers up. Oh, it's not the right color there. Hold on. You delete that one. So we can kind of keep it like how the other ones were. I think that'll work out rather well. So let's get these guys moved over here. And we can watch them come by as they finish up work on the track here. They should be coming by here relatively soon. Let's get rid of the double layer there. Let's get this all up here. Yeah, I haven't put a go-kart track in my other park, and that's something I might consider doing. I know, like at the park, at Kings Island where I used to work, we did have a go-kart track for a little bit. It was just a simple like oval. And I think that's what I would put in Thunder Lake. Just something real simple, nothing too crazy. Something kind of fun though. I think that it might add a little bit more, make it look like an upsell charge for the park. I think it'll work really well. I think that's good enough wall there, so we'll do that. Should have actually deleted this tunnel here so that we didn't have to look at it. But speaking of which, where is the rest of the go-karts at? There's one just sitting here. I don't know where those carts are at. Here comes one of them. Okay, so they just started out. So down here, I don't remember. There's actually names for this if you ever watch Formula One. I'm sorry if I don't know the names. Yeah, you can see them coming up the hill here. They usually come down here actually a little bit more, and then turn back around up to the up towards the main straight here. But I think for our go-karts, I think this is just perfectly fine. Let's come up through here. We're easily making our money back on this, so I love how this looks too. I wonder how they did this. Hold on, what is this? I wonder if that's actually fencing from the ride. I see. So yeah, this is our main track. I like how it looks. I love how they did the queue line as the grandstands. That's a pretty neat idea. All right, so we got all that taken care of. Looks like people are enjoying the rides. Let's see. There's a couple things I want to do. Number of laps 2 is fine. Lapping. I thought there was a way we could actually increase the speed on it. And what I mean by that is like increase the speed of the carts. I mean, they all technically have a governor or something like that on them to help keep the carts going slower. But I want to see if there was a way you can actually increase the speed. I don't think there is. I know there's a way to do it in Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it doesn't look like there's one here. And that's okay. So, how are we doing on our achievements? We got our go-kart track. We have one ride, so we need to build a second ride. And I think I want to do it on this. Hold on. So there's some refreshments here. See, this looks really nice. It just may be a little out of scale, which is a big complaint of all Planet Coaster stuff here. But yeah, it looks really nice still, and I think they did a little bit better job at Planet Zoo. But that's just me. I think. I'm trying to find a spot for another ride, and I'm thinking maybe somewhere down here, just to help people pull more people down here. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to clear these trees out. So I need scenery. I think we can get a bulldozer here. We can just clear this little area out. Actually, I'm with a multi-select tool first. I'll keep the pole there because I kind of like how it looks. Let's delete all this. Why can't I select the plants here? Oh, because they're locked. Well, that's great. So in certain scenarios, plants and stuff like that can be locked, so you actually can't delete them, which is unfortunate. Because if I want to clear an area out, things like that, it's a little more difficult if you actually can't. If you actually can't delete the bushes, things like that. So do something like this. I think this is all part of the bush section there, which is fine. What I'll do is I can put a ride here. I'll probably have a little bit of a smaller ride, but I can put a ride here and hopefully get some more people out this way. Because this is also the exit to the go-kart track. Actually, something like the it's a little big hyper jump maybe. Hyper jump might work, because we had the towers there. I think maybe a hyper jump would work really well here. Let's do something like this. Place the entrance on this side. Maybe. There we go. We place the exit on this side. Looks like we cannot. Maybe not. Hold on, maybe. Yeah, we can. It's kind of tight. But we can do something like that. We'll use this glossy path they use for some reason. Something like that. Connect it up to the path. And then we will use... And we'll do this orange. Why not? And we'll just loop this loop. That's not what I wanted. Also not what I wanted. Come on, ride. There we go. I think it actually curved itself once again here. There we go. And loop this kind of back around here. And like that. And boom, we got a bronze star. Yay! Alright, so let's select this grid here. And let's select the grid first and add our corner piece there. And I don't know why it's not building. Hold on. I might just have a setting I have. Railing on ground queue. There we go. Since we're not doing really anything creative here, I'll just have them build the railings. And the railings themselves aren't too bad. I mean, they're just basic railings. So, but they do work. So we'll open this right up. Those are hyper jump completely done. More confetti. And so now we have our first one thing done. We need to start working on getting the next two done. So we had another go-kart track with at least a length of 500 meters. The first one had to be 900 meters. So I think we're okay there. So we have one of them. But then we have to get enough shop profit from this. So that's a little harder because we're actually losing $160 a month on that. But we're actually making quite a bit of money, so we can actually probably fast forward this. We actually go into the management of this game. This is the screen I usually don't open up very much because we really don't need. In the creative one, you really don't need this. This is also a thing that I really don't look into very often. This is actually the research screen. I'm trying to think what else we could use to help this park here. I think we could do something. Track overlap. I don't know what that one is. Apex Predator. I'm wondering. I might go for that one. Because put $1,000 a month on it. I'm pretty sure that's the Formula One car coaster. I think that'd be kind of a neat addition, and that might be the coaster we build. But I wanted to go actually down here to, I think it's under finances, maybe. No, not finances. Maybe it is. Hold on. Now I can go over here. I'm gonna do some marketing. We all know how important marketing is in into Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, so we'll see how this does here. Larger parks, this is... We really want to kind of attract families in this park, I think, so we'll go for something like that. We are now losing a ton of money in the thing here, so we won't actually auto-renew that one, since we are needing the money here. But since we have built a couple of rides, we have got the go-kart track going. I want to increase... I keep forgetting that this is actually... spacebar is not the pause button in this one. I want to see if we can increase our ticket prices a little bit. If we can. We actually... Let's do $3 per child and $5 per adult guest. I think that's okay. And then we'll go over to the go-kart track. I know this is raising prices again. Ugh. But I mean, this is a game too, so let's actually make this $15. And I think, because we got a full line here, why not charge $15 if they're still going to ride it? And this one, since it is, hold on, let's see if we can figure out stats here. Since I can see the G-force limit, which it might just because of that hill at the end. But let's make it not $250, $25 for a go-kart race. And let's see if there's anything else we can maybe do to help with that. It is 2 laps, correct? Yes, it is 2 laps there. So that's just fine. You can see our prestige here. So the QC rating is 100%. So people will willing to pay more for this ride for this one. So it's already at 1376, and it's almost an hour and a half wait. Actually, a little over an hour and a half wait. Something like this over here, you can see QC rating's 20%. So it's not great. We really do need to work on the scenery of this ride. So let's look over here and see what we can maybe plop down real quick just to add a little bit of scenery to a ride. Kind of the most thing is you can put down is the gold treasure chest. That will really increase the scenery of a ride. But that's also, I think, $10,000. So something you gotta look out for. Trying to see if there's anything that would actually kind of fit over here. And right now I'm not seeing anything. Let's just plop down a few trees. How's that sound? Because they're relatively cheap, and trees can make a place look very nice. These trees, however, are absolutely massive. Be kind of careful how you place them here. Let's see here. Maybe a nice birch tree. One over here. Put a nice big oak tree in the back over here. It's not perfect, but it should help. It's up to 36% now. So add some poplars in here. Let's also not align them to surface. Well, that's not quite how I thought that would go. There we go. Now we can move it again. Place a couple of them. Something I did learn while building some of the other parks, if you have a bunch of the same tree, if you hold shift to increase or decrease their heights and just kind of place them around like this, it does make it look a little more interesting than just a block of trees. Let me actually move this one over just a little bit. It looks a little bit better. It looks a little more dense. How's the ride queue looking now? Oh, I clicked on a person. We're at 50%. Add just maybe a few rocks in here. Rocks are very important. Are very kind of important, but they also help cover larger areas and they make it look rather nice still. I know if you saw in Thunder Lake, you can actually see where I use rocks quite a bit, and you actually can also shape a queue line with them as well. So rocks can be a little tedious, especially to work with. I think they did a little bit better job of them in Planet Zoo. I also have Planet Zoo, so we might take a look at that. I did start a little zoo there, but it's not nearly as well put together as Thunder Lake is right now. Just haven't had as much time to put into it. But the funny thing is, so in Planet Zoo, there was kind of a rush to build a custom zoo. If you look at Bro Nation, everybody was building a zoo like right as the first day, and so was I. I was having fun. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to recreate my hometown zoo of Cincinnati. It's an old zoo. It's a pretty well-known zoo. And so I'm like, great, I'll do that. I posted the entrance on the line side. I got the entrance on the bridge and everything like that. And somebody said, I think it was Mass Paint. It's like, oh, somebody else is building Cincinnati. And I'm like, hang on here. What is all that about? Apparently, in that day, there was 5 separate Cincinnati entrances built. Even Bro Nation was doing a Cincinnati entrance, and I thought that was hilarious. I didn't think of Cincinnati as a big zoo town. The zoo is very nice. It's very well put. It's pretty well put together. There's a couple parts I think they could have worked on, and they're actually working on some new things now. But I never would have thought so many people would have wanted to build it as they did. And if you've ever been to the zoo, it's really in a very tight area. It's actually surrounded by the city pretty well. But the parking lot's on one side. There's a building there. You actually go into the building. There's elevators and stairs, things like that, to actually take you up to a bridge. You cross the bridge into an entrance plaza, and below you is actually, I think it's not Eden Road. I can't remember. Is it Vine? It's not Vine Street. One of the major roads in Cincinnati. It's a 4-lane road, parking on both sides. It's a pretty big street that you have to cross, and so they built this bridge across, and everybody was building that entrance, and I thought that was hilarious. And maybe that's just me, but after I go over the kind of the initial shock of people were actually building Cincinnati's zoo, it was still pretty neat to see. And to me, I really like Planet Zoo. It's a great idea for a game. I go to zoos. I go to Cincinnati's usually once a year. I actually used to go with the company I left Kings Island for, but they are no longer in existence. That's why. That's kind of the reason I started streaming, or one of the reasons, because I just had nothing else to do, unfortunately, during these times. But it's we're getting a little low in cash now because of all this rock work. It was. It's a fun thing to go to. I just think I like amusement parks more, and I think that's kind of how a lot of people feel almost. It just seems like there was a lot of people that they did a lot in Planet Zoo for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then it just kind of faded out. Now, I actually completed all the campaigns for it, and it was really that was fun. But yeah, it just seemed like that people got burned out on Planet Zoo super quickly, and now they're just there. I mean, they're still releasing DLC for it and things like that, and every once in a while I'll see an update video on that. But after, it almost seemed like Planet Zoo had more of a staying power. Maybe that's just me thinking that. So we got this built here. Hopefully that's increased the. So it's got up to 69%. So that's pretty good. So we're almost at the 600 prestige. That's pretty good. I think we can probably charge like $18 for it now. So I'm okay with that. We are still losing a ton of money somehow. That's not good. All right, well, let's actually pause this so we stop spending money on that. So that will get us some money back. I wonder if this is what's causing it. So let's watch here. See, people are still coming in, but we're just losing money still. Huh. This is one thing. So it looks like we're actually getting a little bit better. Maybe it was just that month we were losing a ton of money, but we'll see here. See if maybe we can turn our fortunes around just a little bit. Because we're kind of bounced back and forth between losing money and making money, and that kind of stinks. Because it can be a bit of a roller coaster, no pun intended, on how this goes. And I think this is why one of the reasons that people were kind of against the management of this game, because once there's a point in this game where you're just struggling in this game, and you keep on going, and then eventually you hit a point where you're making so much money it doesn't really matter. And I don't think we've really hit that point yet, because we're still in that struggling phase here. We are starting to make a little bit more money though on actual on the shops and stalls, so that's pretty good for what we had. So yeah, let's see here. I wonder if we can take a loan out at all, because I think adding a couple, like 1 or 2 more rides, maybe down in here, might help us quite a bit if we get rid of these trees. You do get a little bit of cash back, not a whole lot though. But I think if we got a loan out, we can put a couple of rides in here, draw more people down this way. Get a drink here. Just so that we can still try to get more people into this park here. I also want to look at what our biggest expenses were. Staff wages are usually pretty high. That makes sense. Marketing wasn't too awful bad, but it looks like maybe just staff wages. We might want to cut a few staff then. I hate to do that, but let's see here. All staff. Let's see here. Don't want to cut anybody on the merchandise, shops and stalls wise. Security's not a bad thing. We only have one mechanic. Really, even cutting half or some of these guys out, they're all doing something, and that's what kind of stinks. Is that they're all doing something for the park, but it looks like they're automatically training, and that's a bit of a worry. Is that something that I've set on over here? Let's see, staff. That's work rosters. I really don't need those. Well, is all of our shops and everything open? Looks like they are. I want to make sure there were. All right. Well, it looks like our advertisement campaign is done. We'll go ahead and just end that there because we really don't have the money to restart it again. Finances. We can take out a few loans. All right. So that's an option. But I swear there was a section where we could tell them not to train automatically. I could be wrong about that, but so it looks like that's what's happening. It looks like there's some that are training up a little bit faster than others, and it looks like at least all of them are at least 2 stars except for the newer people. Or maybe that's just how the park starts, and I just didn't notice. We are making just the tiniest bit of profit, though, and I think with an extra couple of rides down here, we might be able to actually make a decent profit. But the problem is, I think, let me look here, rides. So I'm just going to place down a couple thrill rides, and I know we'll need to get a loan first. But I kind of want to see how much of a loan we'll need. I'm thinking maybe something like a Tri-Storm maybe, or a test flight. They're kind of a larger ones. Insanity is not a bad one. We put that maybe over here. Maybe even down here a little bit. The kickflip I know is a smaller one. A smaller footprint, that is. That might not be bad for over here. Something like that. So what do we look at? The 2600, 1900, that's what, 30... Well, it'd be 3600, and then to be about $4,500. Loop to loop is, I think, a smaller one too. Yeah. So, maybe a $10,000, maybe like an $8,000 loan if we can find something like that to build these rides, or a $5,000 loan, which is not great. We're only going to pay $500 a month. All right, so pause the game first so that we don't lose any of our money. Rides, and we're going to go, we'll do the kickflip. Where's that? Kickflip. And we'll do that one over here first. Put it kind of back as far as we can and towards the path as much as we can. Okay. We do put the, make kind of a shorter queue here and put an exit on this side. Like so. And then we'll put some just standard asphalt pathing down through here. And around like this. And we'll do one more and we'll connect it up to the path here. Like so. We do want to square off those edges really quick here. Something like this and like that. Looks beautiful. How is this going? 31%. It's not great. I'll charge $10 for it still. I'll open it up because we do need that cash coming in. So we'll have that going here. And let's also build another ride just on this side. What do we decide on? I know we were deciding on a couple of them. Do we do loop-to-loop? Because it's a smaller ride, we can actually kind of wedge it kind of in here next to the Heslop side. Something like that, maybe. Place the entrance on this end and the exit on this end. And we'll just, you know what, we'll do this one in the stone, since that's what it's going to probably connect up to here. Come on. Z hold control, is it, or Z shift? So there's a button you could hit that would help help you build paths. For some reason this is always obstructed, and that's not a good thing. I guess we do something like that. Not ideal, but it will work. Do another standard asphalt one out here. Do want a little bit more of a queue path. We'll do it actually kind of out by the carts here, so we can get some of that cart interaction that we talked about a little bit earlier with the splinter. We get a little bit of interaction with the carts there. Come on. I'm wondering, since if I built that ride a little closer to the path, I'm wondering if it just does not like me putting, you know, something else down that might deform that section of path. Which would stink if it does, because, you know, need to connect this path up somewhere. Something like that, I guess. Doesn't look absolutely perfect, but I guess it'll do for now. Alright, do something like that. We have to reconnect this path to there. And this won't be squared, unfortunately. But kickflip, we can open it up, and we still have about $1,600 left. Or loop-to-loop, that's not the kickflip. How are we doing money-wise? So we're losing still quite a bit. I might have to fire a janitor or two, and maybe a security guard. Let's go ahead and do that. Yep, unfortunately I have to fire him. I'm going to fire one of these guys too. And we'll fire Chief Beef. I know technically it's his park, but he let me run it, and since he let me run it, I decided I'm going to let him go. He was good man, good piece of beef. Our prime choice, but yeah, just couldn't keep him on the roster. Anyways, so let's hopefully that's starting to hopefully get our profits up just a little bit. We were making a ton of money beforehand, and for some reason, it just seemed to not really disappear, but it just kind of went away, and it kind of stinks. I'm wondering, since this track's a lot longer, I know technically 2 laps was kind of the idea, but what if we just turn it down to 1 lap? We open it up, open it back up. So the line should be shorter. If you know anything, there's gonna be a mob there for a little bit. But if you know anything about like amusement parks or rides or anything like that, you'll know that ideally you want to get as many people through a ride as you can. Things like coasters and stuff like that do things like that extremely well. If you think about a ride that has a long line, like a roller coaster can, unfortunately they still have limits of how many people they can get through the rides an hour. We actually are losing some money, but I think once the go-karts get back up and going, I think we'll be making money again. Yeah, there we go. Okay with that. Hopefully it's not too late for us to make some more money back. But yeah, they have a certain capacity for a ride, and if once you hit more people than it can put through an hour, you're going to get a line. That's how lines are formed. That's how lines are formed anywhere. Grocery stores, traffic on the highway. That's how it all works. So, that being said, if we can lower, since we reduce it to 1 lap, they're only going to do 1 circuit around the track. It looks like after the first person passes the start-finish line, they get a victory lap, of course. It looks like maybe 1 or 2 others. The rest of them will stop. And so, last time it would have been, all done 2 circuits, and then they'd have to have what they call a cooldown lap. So hopefully this will allow more people to get through the line. They won't be complaining as much about the wait time for the ride. That's kind of the hope, at least. Right now, the wait time on this one is 39 minutes. That's it's going up, but it's still a lot better than the 95 or so it was beforehand. So we'll keep an eye on this. It looks like we are making some money back, though. Looks like we get about $2,600 now, so at least we have something. We aren't just scraping pennies together to try to get by. So, I just noticed this actually is like garage areas, the Pink Cow and then Team Chief Beef. I just kind of noticed that. That's pretty funny. So yeah. So I think we'll be better. I think, you know what, can we set the lighting to 10 o'clock at all times? Actually, you know what, let me set it to, I think usually 1 p.m. is like a good time. Usually there's some shadows and it looks a little bit nicer, and that's kind of how I usually build on things like that. So it does look like we're actually pulling more people down this way, which is what I wanted, past these shops here over to these shops across the way. It looks a lot, I think it's going to flow a little bit better and things like that. So that's pretty good. We do have some money now, so I think we can add a 3rd ride in here. I think we'll do the kickflip. We can find it. There's a kickflip. We have the room for it, that is. Alrighty, so like that. We'll do the entrance. You know what, we'll do it over here. Just give us a little bit more room, and then the exit we'll place on this side over here. We'll do a path across the way here, and we'll have it connect up there, and we will connect some more pathing. We'll just out like this, across, and down. I don't know how popular this ride is going to be, so I'm going to, I'll do a decent sized queue line for it. I know that's kind of what been kind of biting us in the butt right now is that rides are having too short of a queue line, which makes sense. Wonder if can we place a queue out this way? We cannot. Okay, no big deal. So we'll just connect all this back up, call it a day, open this ride up, and be ready to go. That is a funky queue line, though. Imagine trying to queue for this line. Probably, if this was in a real life setting, they would actually probably have it going this way up the hill. So you're always going up. So in this one, you're going uphill, then back downhill, and then back uphill. If it rained at all, you would probably fall every time through this one. At least one person would, and probably a lot more than that. So maybe not realistic, but if you look here, people are actually starting to come over here. A lot more people are starting to get interested. We've actually increased our guest amount to just over 1,000 people. You saw how busy my other park was, so we're getting kind of busy over here. We're about 1,000 people. I think Thunder Lake was around 3,000 people, so 3,000 or 4,000 people, and you saw how small that park was. It really wasn't that big, but it was just kind of densely packed. So let's see what else we can do here. I think we should put a few shops down here just to help with that shop profit thing. Maybe actually put a actual shop in here, not just food. So we can we'll put just a memento here. And we actually might put both. There's only 2 I have unlocked. So we have just a memento and Looney Balloons. We'll have both of those open up. So they should be good there. I also want to put a few benches back here. I think that'll help a few people because, something you really don't notice in amusement parks is how many benches they have placed out. I know when, at the beginning, it was benches and trash cans. Don't get me wrong here. But when at the beginning of the season at Kings Island, they would have to go put all those back out. So they put them away for the winter, and they break them back out for the spring when they were getting the park ready. And I remember or if you ever go to Kings Island, you can see the front gate. Or if you go to Google or something like that, you can Google Kings Island front gate, and you can see where all the ticket lines are. That area between the front and back gate will be literally filled with benches and probably just benches. Garbage cans they have some there, but they are literally stacked floor to ceiling with benches. I don't know how many they have. I know they would usually use about 3 or 4 hay wagons. They would just stack them on there, and then they would drive to a place. 2 people would jump off the trailer, take a bench off, put it where they need to go, and keep going. And they do that for a couple of days, putting benches out. It wouldn't surprise me, and I've seen them do it. But it's just amazing how many seating. You just don't notice how much there is. But yeah, it's still neat. So I'll put a couple benches around here, and this could be family waiting for people to get off rides. That I think that can happen where a group can split up and part of it their wait at the exit of the ride. So I do like putting some benches down. It makes it a little more realistic. It'll make it look kind of nice. Getting a little. I don't know. It was like I felt fine. I slept pretty good last night, so I don't know why I'm yawning now. So. How are you, guys? I think I'm going to run upstairs and use the restroom really quick. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mute my microphone, and I will leave it on here. You guys can actually kind of watch the park, and some of the ride music going here. I'll be back in like 2 or 3 minutes. Shouldn't be too long, so I'll be right back, guys. Just hang tight, and we'll continue building this park out. I'm hoping to at least get the silver done today, and possibly the gold. We'll see. Looks like it's getting a little bit better for us, though, so we can probably push for a gold today. So let me be right back, and hopefully we'll have some money built up by the time we come back. this is not what I expected to come back to. We are losing money quite a bit on for some reason. Ah, that would be probably why. A broken down ride will actually do that to you. Where is the mechanic at? Okay, they're already fixing the ride. Well, that was at least an idea that we had. Not great though. Yeah. So I was hoping to come back, have a $4,000 or $5,000 in the bank. We could then try to start expanding our park a little bit more. Didn't really work out that way. So guess we're just going to sit here for. I'm going to sit here. So what else do we need to do? So we need to work on our shops. So we're getting close. We're about halfway to getting the what we need to buy from shops. We're about right around $900, give or take. Let's see here. We're still losing money on rides, though. I wonder why. Let's see if maybe we can figure out what rides aren't doing very well. See, it seems here we're doing amazing on rides. Now, I know the running costs might not be great, so let's go around to each ride to see which ones aren't really making money. We're making money there, although the ride scenery is atrocious. Probably need to fix that. So, Loop-de-Loop's losing money. Kickflip's doing okay. So let's increase the price to $12. Oop, not $1,200. $12. Let's also try to. We're actually getting some money back because the go-kart track's back open. But let's actually try to put some like bushes and things like that around the queue here to hopefully increase the scenery path a little bit. And hopefully we can get more people down here. Because if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about this, but with QPath, it does also it also matters on how many people is attracted down here, so or how many people want to ride the ride. So this is kind of an important thing to make sure you have with your rides. So I don't know if that's exactly true, but if I'm not mistaken, that's how it is. So let's just go ahead and do it. And also, it makes the I can't talk after I came back from my break. It also makes I think it makes the park look a little bit nicer. It actually looks like there's someone's actually trying to keep it up a little bit. Actually keep it keep it a little more lively. Actually have some plants and bushes and some trees in here just to make it look like they've care about the space, I guess you could say. So let's do something like this. I think we need to put some smaller trees in here. Nothing too big. What kind of tree do we got here? And that was, yeah, I think it was a little too big for this spot here. Spruce too big. The cypress might not be too bad. Something like this. Move this one up a little bit more. See how this looks. See how the QPath scenery is going now. It is now at 58%. Well, that's just great. Put a few rocks down as well, maybe in this area here. And around like Sue. We put a few actually kind of in the ride, like fenced in area. Just to make it look like it's, a little more cohesive, but don't really know. Let's see here. That work? Maybe. Probably won't hit it, so I think we're okay there. Kind of rock working games like this can be a little tedious, and this is kind of why it's like you're just trying to build up a kind of a rocky area, but you're, you only have so many pieces to work with, so you kind of got to rotate them, flip them, and things like that. So that should at least be, that's at 64%. I'd like to get up just a little bit higher, around 70%. That'll get us into the green then. Let's see here. We don't want to do planters right now. Let's just try to focus on some more bushes maybe, and just kind of work work a few in here. Some nice red bushes, like this. We can kind of go back through and fill in these little gaps with just some green leafy bushes like that, and like this. I think, yeah, we're at 69% now, so that's great. So that'll work. I do, though, I see a few people are complaining about how long they're waiting, but I think I'm okay with that. So there's that one taken care of. Let's go over here to Kickflip, see how that one's doing. I know we were making okay money on that. The scenery's not only at 32 now. But because we've actually charged, we can go up to 18 probably on that ride and still be okay. I know that was not doing. Yeah, so they were kind of complaining about how long the line is. I think that's why that line's short. Looks a little too intense, so we might need to not completely go full throttle on thrill rides. We might need to build some smaller rides. But let's do a little bit different style of here. Let's do some nice, like these white bushes. I think they look kind of nice. And this is one we can kind of, you know, space them out a little bit more and actually look like these are a little more planned, like they were supposed to be here. The other one was a little more random, that they might have just kind of grown there. Let's see here. Ooh, we can probably do something like this, but I do want to change the flower color. We can make it this. Come on, there we go. These, we'll sink them down just a little bit, just to make it look a little bit different. Do something like this. Just around the ride here. And then I like placing these like ground covering bushes. I don't know what they really be used for. They kind of look like plants that you would see in some of the planters around that really are just there to almost shade the trees, the bottom of the trees there. Which looks really nice. Let's see, we can continue along this way here. Something like this. And then I think we put a couple trees in there. I think that'll look really nice, and I think that'll help with the scenery rating as well. So let's do a birch tree. We'll sink it in the ground just a little bit so it looks like it's a lot smaller tree than it actually is. Then we can kind of raise this next one up. We can also rotate a tree to make it look, just a little bit different, and then we'll keep it like so. I kind of want to keep these a little bit smaller. It looks like there might be a little newer trees maybe. They're not maybe as developed or rooted. And you can see the ride a little bit better that way too. Although that probably didn't help with the... it did a little bit. So the Q scenery rating has gone up quite a bit. And I think it's a little bit more, and I think we'll be just fine. Now, I know this really isn't the detail that you would expect from like one of those big parks. And that's kind of expected. You're in a campaign. You're worried about money. And those, we got, full sandbox mode. We can kind of do as we please. But here, we got to be a little more conservative with it, and I'm okay with that. It makes just to give it a little more challenge and something a little bit different today. I wanted to mix it up. I don't know if we'll be playing Planet Coaster next week, because the first hour or so I was just showing off my park. But hey, we'll see how it goes. If people enjoy it, I might do like just a live stream of building in Thunder Lake. That might be kind of fun. So yeah, look at that, 81% already. That's awesome. So we got that taken care of. I think we can, I think we're okay with that ride. How is this? Where do we want to go next? I just realized something. I built the same ride twice. That's not great. All right. So since I built the same ride twice, there's no big deal. I'll close this one because this one is a little more popular. I've got all the trees and everything in there. I don't want to tear that ride out. I have to redo all that. So we'll just tear down this one. We'll get a little bit of money back. We'll then go ahead and put another ride in here. what rides we have. Something like that's probably gonna be too big here. How's the Golden Eagles? That's a little large. So that's the problem with some of these rides. I think didn't we already build an Ascendance type ride? We kind of did. So let's avoid that one. Maybe something like this. I think this is what we were originally planning on doing, and accidentally built in the kickflip instead. So let's do something like this. We'll place it there. Place my entrance right there, and my exit there. Reconnect the path up. Why is this obstructed? There we go. So I guess we can't have a full queue path like we did last time, but this one should at least have a different style of ride in here. All right, let's work on some scenery here, like we have been. I think we're going to first go through and place those ground covering bushes first. And since we're on a slope, let's go ahead and hit a line to surface so that they will hug the hill a little bit better here. Like so. Have to be careful because they do kind of like want to pop up a little bit, so we want to just tap them down just to make sure they look like they're just kind of growing along the ground. That's kind of what I want here. And since we're aligning them to surface, they kind of do rotate themselves, which is kind of neat, so they won't exactly be all the same, which is a good thing. I mean, that's nature is random. They don't put things in the exact spot twice. So that's something that I was watching a video, and they said just human beings have a hard time doing things randomly. There's usually a pattern or something to it. I can't remember what it was. I think there's a couple of different things they were explaining, like how computers have an issue generating a random number because it's very logic based, and you can still get a computer to generate a random number, but it's just a lot harder to do it. They said also that's an easy way for people when they're investigating people who might be fraudulently doing books and things, or fraudulently defrauding a company, is that if you look at their books, there is some sort of pattern to it. If they were actually doing everything correctly, usually there wouldn't be a pattern to sales or something like that. So, they said it's an interesting way to find people like that. Not as much color on this side, but let's see how we're at. We're at 26%, so we're going to need quite a bit more stuff around here. So, a little big for what I'm looking for. I don't want to take up too much room on this side, because if we take up too much room here, we could lose out of space for another ride or something like that. So let's just kind of dot these red bushes around here. And we'll sink a few bushes into here. And like so. We'll rotate this one twice and then place it down. Also, keep in mind that the track is there, so we gotta make sure none of that really kind of bleeds over into it. Like that. It's a little bit nicer. Maybe we build this a little bit more up there. And where are we at now? We are at 38%. Could be a little bit better here. Thinking about something there, it didn't really work out. What if we actually did something like, now see, that looks kind of odd. Yeah, I don't really like how that would look. But we could go through here and just plant a few bushes like this. Maybe they started doing this area with some a little bit more nicer bushes or flowers, and they just ran out of money, or they just don't have time to keep it up. That would be kind of an interesting little thought there. We're at 43%, so we're not really doing much, unfortunately, with some of these flowers here. Maybe we do some just different ones we haven't done yet, make it look a little bit different. Something like this. Yeah, that works. I'm just gonna raise these up, kind of dot them around here. Yeah, I think that looks kind of nice. We do have one that's kind of floating out here. I'll put a bush. That's not what I'm going to do. Bush, please. There we go. And we'll just kind of set this down into the terrain a little bit and just have this corner poking out so that this flower looks like it's a little bit not just out by itself. I think that'll work out just fine. Oh, please into the path a little bit. Ugh. Hold on. Come on. Give me that. There we go. Just increase the height just a little bit on there. There we go. That looks a little bit better. So it looks like we have a kind of a sprouting of wildflowers there. I think that looks interesting. Maybe not exactly how a Royal Park would do it. It's only at 54% though. That's. I think we need something up here. I think that this might help a little bit. There's a few more flowers in these bushes up here, maybe. Now, what this might be, so we said this might be a little more wild. What it could have happened, just kind of just getting story ideas. I kind of like, if I can come up with a story for something, it makes it a little more interesting, and it makes it, to me, it makes it a little more. I put a little more effort into it because I know kind of the backstory of it. Maybe these were actually plant flowers up here, and over time, some of the seeds actually kind of pollinated down here with my wind from the ride or something like that. Kind of blew them down this way. They actually look kind of nice. Is these bushes? We need to maybe fix this one here. Make it a little more this way and maybe a little more up. Now from the air you won't notice them, but yeah, I think that'll work here. We're still only at 64%. All right, I think we're going to add a few more bushes down this way, and I think that's going to be it. Hopefully, I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but we'll see. Something like this. Come on, there we go, and we'll do some red floral bushes around here as well. There we go, 66%. It's in the green, so that'll work just fine. Alrighty. Stretch out just a second here. Get my arms moving again. It's sore through these streams sometimes. I don't know why. I don't know if I just where I have to where I sit them out on my chair or what, but it's stiff and makes it I mean, I've been streaming now. I mean, minus the break for give or take just over 2 hours, and we go to 4 o'clock. So we got another about 50 or so minutes left. So sitting in the same spot for 2 hours is a little difficult. Same with talking for 2 hours. It's been getting a lot better. When I first started, I could just barely talk at the end of these things, but I'm starting to get a little bit better. Throat's starting to get a little, I guess, stronger. I don't know how that really would work. So yeah, and also water helps, or tea, or whatever I'm drinking helps too. Today I'm actually drinking tea. I actually have a couple different flavors of it. Never tried the raspberry tea, so that's what I'm trying today. It's pretty good. Probably not my favorite. Still like the half and half, the half tea, half lemonade. Probably the best one so far I've had. So, and the blackberry was good. I also have peach, and which I've tried was pretty good. There's one more I haven't tried, and I don't remember what that flavor was. Might try that on Thursday when we play some Stardew Valley. So we got this set up here. I think it's looking really well here. We're actually making quite a bit of money right now. So I think, we're making about $3,000. It's hovering right around in there. I want to get this back going. And I want to get some more marketing going. So let's do that. Let's do that. We don't want to auto renew right now. So this will hopefully bring in some more people. We can actually get hopefully we can get a little bit more money going that way. Hopefully we can get that ride developed. I think that's the coaster that I'm wanting, I think. Let's see here. Let's also look at how much money we're making on shops. We're at 1905 right now. That's not bad. We need to get that to 2500. Wonder if there's a souvenir stores up this way. I don't see on this side. So what I think I'll do, I don't want to, destroy all this because it looks, it's not perfect, but it looks really nice. I do want to put a shop here. I think that'll look, that is a good place for it. I think just for a souvenir store. So just memento. Something like maybe that. Then give us a path connection, so that'll work. Make sure it's opened. It is. So there's that. Hopefully that will sell a good amount of stuff. That is the hope, at least. Nothing. Almost knocked a tea over. That would have been a bad thing. Yeah. So hopefully that'll work. Hopefully we'll get a few more sales from there as well. What other place can we put down that maybe help us with some sales? Park interest, no. Information. What kind of? These only sell priority passes, and we don't have a ride with priority passes yet. But an ATM probably wouldn't be a bad little thing to put in here. Can we sneak it in here? One of the issues I have with Planet Coaster, and I think a lot of people have this issue, is that I think like an ATM, they could very easily just be attached to a path. Has to have this huge box around it that kind of prevents it being placed where people want them to. You can see here, you have to have this whole kind of space clear, and if it's really just that little machine, wouldn't need all that. Yeah, there we go. So we got the ATM in. That looks rather nice. I don't think we make any money off it, but if people need money, perfect place to get it. Alrighty, so what else could we do? The other thing we could do, I guess, we could put more food stands down, and that's probably what we'll have to do. It's first aid. I think we have one of those already. And we could put down a few vending machines. Technically these don't actually, we don't have to have somebody man them. So that's kind of a plus for that. Put a gulping a milkshake one down. I kind of want to stop building that building here and then kind of angle this one maybe. Try to get it in. Come on. Let me have it. Come on. There we go. There we go. And so now those will hopefully start making us a little bit of money. It's not perfect, but I know we have a Cosmic Cow here, but hopefully maybe since this is always a little bit backed up, they might prefer just going to a vending machine. Then we don't have to pay somebody to also operate them, so that helps as well. Then we're also going to look at building a second go-kart track that's at least 500 meters. Let's see here. Where could we put it at? We could put it down here. Maybe just do a tri-oval type thing, kind of like a Pocono or a Phoenix Raceway type track here. I know they kind of tease us with this kind of big loop here. But I think I'd rather, do something a little bit smaller. And then the other issue is trying to figure out where we want to put our coaster at for our gold level. We could put it over here, and actually, what we could do is use this as the track for the roller coaster, and actually have it start maybe right here. Have a big lift hill, and then have it. I think there's a tunnel here. Have the first lift hill dive underneath this rock here. Have it, because I think the one I'm thinking of is like a Giga Coaster, so it doesn't do any loops or anything like that, but it could very well sneak through this town here and around the lighthouse still. Maybe do a helix around there and kind of follow the coast back. That might be what we do, and I kind of like that idea. So we have this whole area here for the go-kart track. Kind of want to see where this leads to. Just goes back there and stops. All right, so never mind. So I think right here is where we're going to put the second go-kart track at. So let's go to track rides here. Customs. There's quite a few of them. Go-kart track. Now there's a couple different go-karts. This is the one they have over there. I don't know if all of them works, because we do have the Munsters. We also have Knight Rider, and we actually have the Back to the Future DeLorean, which, by the way, hold on. Let me switch to the main camera here. If you see here, I've got my Save the Clock Tower shirt on. This is one of my favorite shirts I have. This is the Hill Valley Preservation Society shirt. I saw this, I think, on Facebook, and like I have to have one of those, so I got it. And I think, you know what, since I'm wearing this shirt, I will go ahead and do a Back to the Future style go-karts and see if it works. That should be fine there. And if you see here, let's see if they spawn the carts. They're actually in the hover mode. I think it's hilarious. And then there's just wheels. Why? Not really sure, but still rather funny. Can we actually have banking on this? I didn't remember if we could or not. We can. All right, hold on. Maybe we need to go up a little bit. Let's see if they'll let us go up. Come on. There we go. We get some nice degree of banking in here. Maybe 8 degrees? Or is 5 the most we can do? I think 5 is the most we can do. All right, well, we're doing 5 degrees of banking then. And curve the track. Let's level it out actually after that, just because I wanted to go up a little bit just so that this wouldn't be digging into the ground. So we do have a nice smooth corner here. Hopefully this will work. Maybe kind of just ease the curve off there and go back to a straight track. And we'll also go back to a level track, and we'll go down again. Yeah, it might be a little too much down on that one. So let's just ease it up just a little bit more there and level it off. So we have our big first sweeping corner here. Go out this way. Funny enough, we're actually more designing like something like the Walt Disney World Speedway. If you don't know what that was, it was a racetrack that they had. It was actually just outside the Polynesian Resort at Disney. Let's do a nice 30-degree turn here. Ooh, I think it's going to be a little small. Let's go ahead and actually continue straight out this way. I think I have to reset all this. Yeah, so fix that really quick here. But Walt Disney World Speedway was like a tribal racetrack that the same people who built, or the same person who designed the Indianapolis Motor Speedway designed this racetrack. And it was like a tri-oval, but each corner was a little bit different. One had like I think 10 degrees of banking, one had like 8, and one had 6. So each corner was a little bit different. So it made it like an interesting little track to race on. I think they held 3 Craftsman Truck Series races, so NASCAR truck racing, and 2 Indy races there. Hold on. Got to level this back off here. And so it was used, but unfortunately the parking was an issue on it, because there was actually no parking at the track. If I'm not mistaken, they were busing them from Epcot over to the Polynesian to actually watch the race. And then that was one issue. I don't think it had a permanent garage area either. So there was that, and there was something else. And the grandstands. There was actually no grandstands there permanently, so they'd actually have to erect a temporary one in the parking lot, essentially, to overlook the track. And after a couple different seasons, they were just kind of it's getting to be a hassle. We are running out of money for this. Even if this is not long enough, I think we're going to complete it and at least get a second go-kart track going, just so that we can just get a little more money in. We can always make like a little road course type place in the middle here, and then have it come back to the station here. I don't know how long this track's going to be, so we'll see. You know what? Since we're just it's not great. Let's see here. Loans. Add new loan, or we cannot add another loan. So that's unfortunate. But let's keep the game going. Like fast forward to see if we can make a little bit more money here. What we might have to do though is we're really close. We're not like too awful bad. Let's pause this again. I really don't want to, but you know we can't do anything less than $1,000 a month, and that $1,000 will really should kind of bump us back over where we were, so that we can actually get some money being saved up again. There we go. So hopefully we can complete this track here momentarily. Let's see here. Edit track. What happens if I auto-complete it? They make a nice sweeping corner here, and it does give that kind of triangle. You know what? Hold on 1 second here. Cancel. Do one more, and then do an auto-complete here. Now this section, I do want to bank just a little bit. I think that actually might be more than originally what it was, but all right, there we go. So now we got a little bit more banking on that last corner here. Let's see if I can. So that is max banking there. So it's actually, let's go back here and bank this one as well, just so that it doesn't all of a sudden just go to 5 degrees suddenly. Kind of got a little more of a lead up to it. So yeah, there's our little track then. Looks kind of nice. Does look more like Pocono than anything else, but yeah, I think if we had a little bit longer front straightaway, it would look more like either Pocono or something like that. So let's actually get this thing going then. Place the entrance here. Oh, I bet you I put this the wrong way. Edit track. So station-wise, you can't just pick where you want your entrance and exit. You have to choose it in here. So right now I can only build the entrance and exit on the left-hand side. You can actually choose that they enter the left, exit right, the backwards of that, and then exit only the right side only. And that's what I'm going to do here. Just because I think it's kind of a pain in the butt to actually do a queue line over top of the racetrack. And I kind of want to leave it flat here. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and place the entrance here. We'll do the exit in the back here. We will run a path just straight out for the exit here. Do something like that. And we'll do this nice glossy path here. Kind of make it look a little more, you know, fun, I guess. I don't know, like, you know, kind of thought there. I don't know how you explain it, but it looks, you know, a little more funky, I guess. A little different than what we're used to. So I kind of want to make a longer path, though, just because I know this might, the length of the queue might be kind of long for this ride. So do something like this and back around. Make a few cattle pens here. And we'll actually want to connect it out to the path here. Right there, it looks really nice. We'll select this grid as well, and so we can make our square corners. Like, they'll look a little bit better. And one more time, there we go. Nope, we missed one. Hold on. There we go. Looks rather nice. And then we can actually add some decorations here around the sides, stuff like that, to actually really kind of bump this up. So we'll do something like that. We'll open the ride up. The scenery is not great. Let's be honest here. Hopefully, now that we've got construction done, we can save a little more money, though. We are making some money. Not a whole lot, though. But I think since we're able to build it Back to the Future go-karts, we should have that scenery pack. So because of that, I believe, let's see if, oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, so there's a lot of people all of a sudden just start running down here. Jay, I am doing great, sir. How are you doing today? we're just building a little bit in Planet Coaster. A little bit earlier, I actually gave an overview of the park I was kind of custom building. This is the one that I decided to play some Planet Coaster today, so it looks kind of nice. The go-kart looks pretty cool. Hey, I enjoy every viewer I have, but yeah, thanks for coming along, dude. I really do appreciate it. Looks like that didn't probably quite make our length of 500 meters, but that's okay. I wonder how long this one is. Stats here. Hold on. 345 meters, so we were really close. What I might do is kind of redo this turn here and just kind of bring this out a little bit more, because I really don't need that much more length. But yeah, let's get some scenery on here so people will pay just a little bit more just to ride the ride. Go to blueprints first, and I think we can actually hit a filter here and go to, not custom tags, source. Content pack is the one I meant to hit. And there is a Back to the Future one. And since we are doing this, yes, there actually is some scenery for the ride here. So we do have a couple DeLoreans that we can actually put into the into here. We also have this one where it looks like it's going back in time, which is pretty cool. But I think I want to do this one because all of our hover cars. So I think we do something like this. Maybe you know what? We could angle it, move it up just a little bit, and looks like maybe over top the ride here. So we can angle it down, maybe a little much. Turn the angle snapping off here. Something like this. Rotate it just a little bit. And there we go. It only cost us $45 for that whole thing. Heck, do you know how much these DeLoreans are now because of Back to the Future? I was kind of curious because I was like, I like going, I like looking at cars and car shopping and things like that. I went on eBay. I'm like, I just typed in DeLorean. Really kind of curious on how much these things were because I had heard they were. I mean, the movie himself really did kind of make them a pop culture thing, but if I can type here, but at the same time, they're still. I mean, the cars were okay. They weren't perfect. To get a really worn down DeLorean that needs probably around $8,000 or $10,000 worth of work. I think it was like 15 or 20 grand just to buy the car. One in like good condition that you can drive every day. No problem. I think was going for like 40 or 45 grand. There was only like 6 out there, so I was really shocked at how much these things were going for. And it's cool to see that those cars are actually starting to become valuable. But I just didn't think they'd be that much, to be honest with you. So right now I'm looking for something. I don't see. Well, probably need to get a custom. I'm looking for some supports for the ride or for the vehicle here. I'm just going to put a couple just basic supports in here, just to make it look a little more realistic. Here's what I'm looking for. Let's do something like this. Come on. So something like this. And then put the footer in. These are really cool pieces. I think we actually got these for free too. I could be wrong about that, but well, that's not what I wanted either. Something like this to make it look like the car's actually got some support to it. And we'll put second one up over here. We'll kind of sink it in the ground a little more, so it's a little bit harder to see. And do something like this. Well, I missed the support completely, but let's move this over like so. And there we go. I think that looks like it's supported now. It probably wouldn't be a real car. It'd probably just be a facade. But yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Let's also see. I think there's actually a Back to the Future sign we can actually put up too, and I think that'll work. Let's see here. More filters. Content pack. Back to the Future. Aha. Sign's a little big, but you know what? I know we're getting towards the end of the stream. We got about a half hour left. But you know, I think, you know, something like this, I think it'd just be kind of fun. This would be kind of one of those things where you can just take a photo in front of the sign before you went on it. I'm just going to raise this up just a little bit here, and we'll go back to those supports and the building here. Is this a smaller one? Yes, it is. Perfect. We'll put the small footers in here. We'll put 2 in for the sign. Go ahead and put the smaller coaster, smaller ones in here and in here. And we'll have a larger beam that connects both of them. We'll align this one to the surface because it's a little bit easier. Something like that. Do we want to move this? Yeah, we'll move these two a little bit closer, actually. Something like so. Move that back. Actually, I want to move. Let's go ahead and group all this into one group, because that's kind of what I want them to do. 5 pieces there. Add that to a scenery group. Edit this group. Come on. There we go. Well, that didn't work out as I thought it would. Come on. Give me this piece. Or did I not include that piece? I didn't include that piece. Alright, well. Let me do this. And that. Edit the group now. So hopefully that piece is now in there. Needs to be right around there. So we need to move the footer just a little bit more. Come on. There we go. Now we can move the sign back a little bit. This is probably not doing very much for our scenery for the line, but you know what? I like it, and that's all that matters. So we'll move it just to the front of the path just a little bit more there. Looks very nice. I like that. Yeah, I think that gives us a really cool entrance for our new track. You know, it's not perfect. I mean, we could do something a little bit better track-wise or something like that. But let's see how our stats are doing. So we're at 19%. So let's go ahead and start doing a little bit more scenery work around here. And get a few bushes and things like that set up here. Surprised that the Back to the Future pack does not have any flowers in it. Doesn't really make any sense too. But I think a few orange flowers actually might look really cool along the front here. To help, number one, hide the footer here, because let's be honest here, concrete's not that exciting to look at. But we'll place some of the orange flowers around here just to make it look like we've kind of, you know, this was kind of our big ride for this area, so we wanted to at least make it look a little bit nicer. Put some nice flowers around it. Put some nice bushes behind it. Some nice red leafy bushes. Something a little bit different to kind of set it off just a little bit more than the rest of the park is. And maybe we actually, you know, we have to pay a little bit more for the IP and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll do something like this. Kind of build up these right here. So, I mean, the sign looks really nice now. Like, I really like how that looks. But let's go ahead and start working on this side, though, because underneath the car, there'll be a lot more shade. We probably don't want to put as many flowers over here because it's very possible they wouldn't grow very well over here. So, we'll do something like that. I don't want to put any trees or anything like that, though. I do want to put just some smaller bushes, like this. This. Hold on here. Looks like some people are. Okay, they're not waiting in line because they think the line's too long. Okay. We're up 38%. People are saying this ride's cheap, so let's double the price. I know, it's that's a big jump, but you know, it'll still work. Alright, I think we need to keep moving on down this way. Let's see here. First, I'm just going to start with some ground covering. Nothing real fancy here, but we'll start putting some more trees down this way. What we also could do, I guess, well, probably make more sense over here. We put some bathrooms, things like that, for this area. I think that would make a little more sense over there than it would be over here. So keep on going over here with this. I might put a few trees over here just to help kind of fill this area in with some life. Let's see here. Put one there. We'll actually use some orange because orange kind of fits in the theme. I know it's more of an autumn. When everything wouldn't be green, it would be orange and red and things like that. But I think something like that. We need to put a few flowers in here, I think, too. I mean, the trees and stuff like that look pretty good. But yes, we can make these orange. Make them like different colors of orange. I think that'll look really nice. Alrighty. Just kind of fill in these spots here. Nothing too much. I mean, they kind of look like more like fall flowers. Some of them actually have almost died, but it'll work. Let's see how this is looking now. We are at 59%, so we're getting there. We're getting close. Can we do something maybe like? I'm actually going to scenery. I've clicked on the wrong button twice now. Let's go to scenery. And let's go to, where do we think we could go? We put maybe some flags up, maybe some banners. FLA, come on, flag. Not really what I thought. Alrighty, let's go over here then. Wonder what parts they have over here for Back to the Future. Let's look here. Content pack. Where is? Do they not have a Back to the Future? Or they might not have Back to the Future over here. All right. Well, there goes that idea. How about there is. I don't think they'll be over here. But if I'm not mistaken, there's like some old 1950s cars in here. Let's see if I can find them real quick. So there's a lot of them from the movie set. But I think they might be called lowriders. Hold on, low. Aha! There they are. So you consider this a lowrider, but I think we would paint it black. I think it would be kind of nice. Look kind of nice over here. This one needs to snap to position, please. You know what? I think I'm going to take the roof off. Because I think... Why is that one? What in the world's going on? These went on fine. These wheels went on fine, but the other ones did not. Alright, I think we do this. We paint the car itself black. White, I think, needs to go to... we'll do... no, that one needs to be like silver. We can do it in black too and make it kind of look kind of nice. But the interior's got to be red. I think, kind of red on red. Like that. Yeah, I think it looks kind of nice. Kind of like Biff's car from the first one. Kind of an idea there. Let's see here. Let's see if we can figure out why in the world these are just snapping to the really oddest positions there. I don't know. You know what we could do though? I guess we could do something like this. Rotate them. And I think that's where they're supposed to be. So I think we'll be okay. I'm debating about something and I don't know how I would do it. because in Back to the Future Part 1, fair enough, the flying DeLorean doesn't come in until number 2. Biff's car crashes into a manure truck, and I'm pretty sure we could replicate that. That wouldn't get us to our goal, and we only have 20 minutes left. Here's what we're going to do. Here's the last two things we're going to do on the stream. We're going to get our silver medal, so we won't get gold today, but we will get our silver. So let's pause the game really quick. So let's edit this track here and make it the 500 meters, I think it was, we needed. Yes. So we only need about 150 more meters of track. I think if we widen this turn out here and actually bring it out more towards the coast, or we lessen this curve here and make it almost like a weird looking square, I think that'll work a little bit better. Close the ride, please. Edit the track. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to delete pretty much from here to the station. We also want to put in, I want to put in a few more station pieces so we can get a couple more carts out there. But because even if we are, since we're lengthening this, this will have to be a longer turn there, or a longer straightaway, I should say. Alrighty, I think from there we'll make it straight, and we'll level it out. We'll go down to 3% grade, 3 degrees here, and then level it back out. So hopefully this will add hopefully enough of the 150 meters that we don't have to worry about anymore. We can still, I think, put our coaster station here, have it drop, and then kind of go under the track here, and then go. Ooh, actually, if we back it up a little bit more, we can actually have a huge lift hill, and then drop and have this either fall right over the track or right under the track, and that still would look really nice. Yeah. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn it all the way 5 degrees. We're going to go up 3 degrees, because that's about where we were, and then this part will flatten it back out to 0 and then begin the turn. Feel a lot sharper of a corner here, but that's okay with me. If we hit autocomplete, it's going to... Ooh, this means it's a little too long. Alright, hold on. Here, we'll back this up 1, and we'll leave back up 1 from here. So now we'll bank it from here. We'll raise it up 3 degrees. Level it off 3 degrees here. And start our turn there. What happens if we autocomplete here? Let's cancel that. Let's actually continue the turn and then hit autocomplete. I don't know if that gave us our extra 150 meters. Let's go in here and see. Oh, it gives. We're at 406 now. All right. Well, that's not quite what we wanted. Well, we got about 60 more meters out of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to edit the tracking once again. We're going to come out of this corner here, and we'll keep it kind of like, hold on, let's get rid of this piece here. I'll keep it the track there, just so that I'm going to build it from here, please. There we go. But we won't. This will kind of like, if we're coming off the main banking, we're actually going to make a little road course in the center here. Let's do a 45-degree turn here. Kind of bring it into the infield here. We'll bring this straight, but I want to do a chicane. We'll do something like that, and then so they'll come out here in. Do one more of those, and then like that. So they'll have a few chicanes they have to go through. We will bring it like this. Turn it a little bit more. So I'm going to do something like this. Do a small straightaway here. I want to shorten the track up a lot, though. There we go. And then, because I want to do a tight U-turn, like right here. Like 90 degrees on both sides. And then, don't want to do that again, because that will not work. We'll straighten it back out. And then curve it. We'll do a 40-degree turn here. Come on, a little more, a little more. There we go. There we go. So now we've got, hopefully, I think that should be enough. And if we hit autocomplete now, it failed autocomplete. All right, well, that's just great. Let's send this out again. So we'll have just a nice straightaway here. And can we autocomplete now? We cannot. All right, well, that's not great. Can we do, and then turn it? For some reason, this does not want to autocomplete like this, and that's really odd to me, but don't really want to lengthen it, because I really don't want to make that turn any more than I have to. Why is this not auto-completing? This is... It should give me a special symbol to allow it to connect into there. I'm wondering if just because I'm out of money. That very well could be. So let's let the game run a little bit. I know we're missing a go-kart track, which is unfortunate, but let's see if we can maybe... Autocomplete? Nope. Autocomplete failure. That's not good. This is just really odd. I don't know why it's not auto-completing, or at least it should be auto-completing. Let's back it up to about here, and we'll actually work from the track here to see if maybe we can get it to connect in. Because, I mean, look at this. We are almost lining those up perfectly, and it's not completing it. We can even build through it for some reason. Maybe it just doesn't like me building over here. I don't know. Right here is where I actually want to delete from. Because that should allow me to autocomplete to there. I mean, there's no reason it shouldn't. I've never had something like this happen. It's really weird. I've never had this. I don't know if it's a glitch or what happened. We need to extend this out maybe a little more. All right, let's do this. Let's reset. Get all the way out of it, and then go back into editing and see if maybe that'll fix it. No. Where do we have a break somewhere else in the coaster? It doesn't look like it. Oh, hold on. Why is this unbroken? Right, hold on, I don't think that fixed that. Up 3 degrees. Let's see if we can fix this now. Up 3 degrees. Bank it to the right. Come on. I don't know why this did this now. Doing some weird things now. I don't understand it. Level this out to there. See, that won't even let me autocomplete that. Alright, well, if we delete this, let's just try. We might have to just rebuild this whole section, which I'd rather not do. 3 degrees up, 5 degrees that way, and then we turn it. so let me add anything to there. Alright, well, I think I'm going to have to rebuild this entire section here, which I'll leave it for now right there to see if maybe it'll figure out what in the world I'm doing, but I don't know. So let's just redo it so we can at least get the silver done. Don't know if we'll have time to do anything else, but we're going to get this one done. Going out to about there. Straighten it out. Roll this back over to flat. And down 3 degrees. Level it back out. Down here, the first straightaway here. Alrighty, now let's roll it to the left again. Bring it up 3 degrees. And then we'll start our turn after we level it out here. That might be a little bit tighter of a corner than I wanted it to be, so let's ease it out just a little bit. Alright, 30-degree turn might be a little bit better. And then you still cannot add on to there, so let's just go ahead and keep on deleting this. I still wanted to make it look like this was a complete circuit. So it looks like there was it's a tri-oval, but the kind of the configuration for it is set up for the road course, which that's common. Like you look at Daytona or Charlotte, those kind of racetracks have stuff like that. So, you know, not out of the realm of possibility for something like this. Let's make this a 30-degree turn here. Kind of cut it a little sharper on this last part. I do want to move this one back out just a little bit more. Straighten it out like that. It's letting me connect now, which is odd. See if I can connect here, maybe. Oh, it will let me connect, so I can save some of this. All right. Well, since we can, let's try to save as much as we can. Not quite how the course I wanted it to be, but I do want to go back and add the chicanes in. I think that'll be a nice touch. And now it won't let me connect up here. Will it? No, it doesn't look like it. All right, well, let's back this up then. Ah, that would be probably why. I don't have enough funds for it. Why are we losing so much money, though? We are. It's just I think it's just with ride construction. I think since we had to do a lot of it, it's probably why we're losing so much money. Can we take any loans out? I just want to get this go-kart really opened. We cannot. We're almost done paying this one off, though. That's pretty good. All right, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. I bet you $10 this go-kart track's broken down again. Yep, it sure has. All right, well, that's a bummer. All right, well, let's get that fixed. I think this is the last thing we'll do. I don't think we'll have time for the scenery for it, but unfortunate. But that should. I think that should get us at least our silver star. I want to get that before we end the stream. But without this track here, or without the track here, it's kind of hard to make our money. So it's a good idea to get a second track in here and up and going as fast as we can. All right, so edit. Let's put our chicanes in here. Since no, right here. Thank you. Let's delete it, and we'll start our chicanes. And I do want to edit this part here. Kind of get rid of it. In the chicane. And then connect to here. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I just got the little symbol. Yes, there we go. So there's that part connected up. I don't have the funds right this second to complete this. Let's speed up time here. Hopefully we can get the other cart track going, so we can get enough just to finish this one off, because we're super close. Then I accidentally hit the wrong button, deleted part of the track. That's not great. Building this track one piece at a time. It's not ideal, but come on. The reason we're losing money on rides right now is just we're actually building something, and if we weren't, we'd probably be making quite a bit more money, but we are not right this second, which is unfortunate. But I think we do one more straight track out, and once I do that, I want to turn it at that point. And it's giving me the option to connect it. Let me build it. I think it let me build it. So I think we finally have our track have a full circuit again. All right. Well, let's exit out of here. Hopefully that was big enough. Gonna place an entrance still. I think the entrance got deleted accidentally when we oh, it did. Alright, let's edit the ride real quick here. We'll add one more station piece to the front of this. So right here, I'm going to demolish that one, add another station piece in. But I don't have the funds. How much is this? $360 just for a station piece. It's quite a bit of money. But I think that's the only way we can get our entrance back to where it was, unfortunately. Oh, come on. Alright, so we might not see. If you look here, construction's already been almost $2,000. If we look here, we're only losing, $100 a month. So, that's all we're looking at. So, come on. Let me just build this last piece so we can complete this challenge. Don't think it's going to let me, which sucks really hard, because we can't take a loan out. We don't. You know what we could do? I don't know if this is going to let me do this, but let's see here. This building right here. Can we? Oh, they're locked. Sometimes you can delete buildings and get some money back, and it's nice, but. What can we get rid of, maybe, and make a few dollars back? Can we delete the shops? Hold on. I know we got some litter and some vomit issues. We'll worry about that here in a second. And actually, you know what? We don't even have the shop sales for this. Well, that's really unfortunate. I guess not. I think that's kind of where we're stuck at. So we can't even get our silver today. Well, that kind of sucks. But I want to get this track finished. So why are we just being so bad at money right now? I don't know why we're that low on money. That's all right. Well, what if we? I don't want to get rid of the bushes or anything like that there. But what if we? What is this? Lighthouse is locked. See, they thought about all this. Get rid of the shark. These aren't really worth much. I figured they would be, but I guess not. The yacht must be outside the park here. Good looking boat though. And it's right at 4 o'clock now, and I don't know how to finish this go-kart track. It's driving me crazy. I want to get this done. I want to see people riding it. That's kind of the issue. We're starting to see a little bit more profit though, so maybe here in just a moment we can actually pay for the last part of that station. It's kind of fluctuating right at, you know, kind of the 0 mark, which is not great. Come on, people. So I have a feeling once we get this track done or track built, we won't have a problem with money, because even if one of our cart rides is down, we have the other one to kind of pick it back up, to kind of pull up the slack until this one's repaired. This one's still open. Technically, it's actually lost us money. I don't know how, but we really need to work on the litter around here, because my lord, there's a lot of it. A lot of vandalism too. That might be why we're not having any luck. Is the rest of our parks is kind of gone to the birds here, literally. Let's see here, staff. Where's my janitors at? That's a good question. Where are my janitors? Did they all just end up and quit? Well, all right then. I guess all my janitors ended up and quit, and I didn't notice. And now my park's falling into disarray, and I don't really have money to pay anything back yet. Well, this is just going to end just swimmingly. We can't pay off. And literally, you know what we could do? I think it's what we're going to do. We are going to wait the month here. I know it's 401. We are going to just wait until we can pay this off. Pay it off. We'll have probably around $4,000. We'll finish that track. We'll hire a few janitors. That's how we're going to end this stream. Ah, come on. It's amazing. We've paid over $2,000 in interest on a $5,000 loan. I'm just pointing that out there. There's no other loans we can take either, which kind of stinks. And I think our guests, yeah, so if you look here, I think it's just because of the litter and things like that. Yep, this is pretty much how I thought it was going to go. It's not going great for us. Right. I really don't want to just sit here and, you know what I mean? I really don't want to sit here and wait for, you know, that just to tick down to 0. But I might, you know, we might have to. Is there any way we can make this go a little bit better, a little bit faster? Not really. Let's get rid of this shop here, because it's losing us money anyway. So there's $160 we can get back. We can actually sell these two over here. I know I'm gutting half my park just to try to get enough money so we can actually get a loan out, which is odd to think about, but yeah, that's how it's working out right now. Come on, hit the play button. There we go. Park management. How are we doing financial wise? Down to $300. Can we increase this at all and make like $750 and go faster? I know that'll probably just put us more in debt right this second, but it's kind of worth it trying to get this. Let's just do 1,000, see if that works. See if we can get this paid off faster. Not really. Yeah, less than a month now. See how that goes. All right, so we're getting ticked down. We'll get that right up and going. I think that's our first priority. Then we'll get some janitors, and then we'll end the stream. That's kind of the order I think we should do it in. I also think we need to get these repaired too, because But they're $10 to replace, and we actually don't have $10 to put towards that right this second. Yeet. Less than $100 to pay off now. It's good. $70. Come on. Cool. Done. So we got that loan paid off. Now, can we take out a new one? Yes. All right. We got $4,300 now. Let's run over here, build this last station piece. Come on. Station. Left or right. There we go. Utility and straight piece and connect. That's gonna be a little bit of a jarring banking, but that's okay. We have a complete circuit again. Come on, exit, exit, come on. Place the entrance right there. Open it up. Did it get enough? 590 meters, yes. So now we have 2 tracks now. Now, let's hire some janitors and get this park back into a usable shape. Hire janitors. I need 3 of them. At least. Hopefully here soon we can see everything being cleaned up rather quickly. Since we also have some money, we can actually fix all of our trash cans and things like that. Let's see here. Is there anything else? There's trash can over here. Can we get a janitor down here? There is literally a green smog coming out of that bathroom. Let's get everything replaced at least. So hopefully it'll be a little bit nicer of an area. Looks like they didn't really touch down here. There's the litter bin, or they're full. So let's hire a 4th janitor. Right here. Let's get these guys sweeping up real quick. And I think now, hopefully, the guest happiness should be going back up. Not really, but hopefully this will start to calm down. People are starting to ride this ride here. It looks great. You know, it seems like people are. It seems like it's going well. I don't know how they're going to go too wide through these chicanes, but they're going to try it. It's interesting to say the least. But yeah, it looks like everything's working now. We're still losing money, but you know what? We've got 2 tracks done. That should get us at least our second one, and did. So now we got to worry about shops and stalls, but I think that's all have to be a next time problem, not this time problem. And it looks like our paths are finally getting cleaned up. Our janitors are doing a wonderful job. You know, this area was a total disaster. Same with up here. How's this area doing? It's better. And everything's broken again. Well, alright. That's not great. I know we need to end the stream. It's almost 10 after. Let me do one more thing, though, and I want to put up, it is in scenery, I think it is. CM. Aha. Putting a security camera right here. So that hopefully those people who are vandalizing our park get caught. And that does happen through cameras too. So hopefully this will take care of a lot of our issues. My lord, this is just green smogs and puke everywhere. Alright guys, well I think it might take a little bit, but I think this park will come back to normal, hopefully. I didn't know that, you know, new park save here. I didn't know that was one of the reasons why we were losing so much, is that we didn't have restrooms essentially. Our park was pretty much covered in trash and sick and things like that. So I'm turn up to the big screen here, guys. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. I do appreciate it. If you're watching live now, I really do appreciate it. If you'd leave a follow, that's what I'm looking for. We're trying to get to affiliate right now. We're getting up to 50. We are at 19 right now, so we're almost 20% of the way there. Or hold on, that's not right. What is 20%? I don't worry. 20 is something. It's 2/5. So it'd be 40%. We're almost 40% of the way there. And so we're getting clear. We're getting, it's getting up there. I've been, steadily getting more and more. It's been going really well. So if you guys could leave a follow, it'd be great. If you're watching this later on YouTube, I do appreciate that as well. Go ahead and leave a like and a comment if you do so choose. And if you like this video or any other like that, just go ahead and subscribe. I do this. I put about 6 videos out a week. Usually 3 of them are the live stream and 3 of them are what I call the best bites. Those are just about usually a 10 to 15 minute clip of just the stream, just kind of the better bits of the stream. Me explaining what I do, or some of the funny parts, or some stories that are interesting. I'm pretty sure a lot of this is going to be stories today. And I do this every week, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you could come out, that'd be great. But guys, thanks for you guys for joining me today. I'll see you guys back here on Thursday, same time, same place. But we'll be playing some Stardew Valley that day, and hopefully it'll be a great time. I'll see you guys then. You guys have a great day.